future has traditionally met rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver.
Oh, Howie.
You've got nothing to lose.
Do you have a poll question?
Gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
He's the gaff that keeps on giving. Here's 1 minute of former Vice President Joe Biden.
You teachers who touched them.
Let me think here. Hold on.
Well, I hope you touch them and tell them how much you love them too. But
who's going to be next to drop out?
My point is, when you touch their hearts.
Yeah, how about, you want to do, will Joe Biden finish fifth tonight?
I'm your president.
Sure. Let's do that.
Goes to my heart, and then I articulate it. And by the way, I sit on the stand, and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. 1.2 billion. So you go ahead and you stack spaghetti sauce at a store in a supermarket. You control the guy or the woman who brings out the carts on a forklift. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap, and I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
The Biden campaign was maybe hoping for one of those classic New Hampshire primary surprises. Well, the surprise is for us. I'm heading to South Carolina, as is the former vice president, canceling a plan to celebrate primary night with supporters here in New Hampshire.
Joe Biden is almost on fumes, really. Well, this is a real problem for their campaign. They're beginning to have that feeling of a loser.
Live from the Matthews Brothers studio.
Me the call
message
screener.
that you're sending to New Hampshire by going to South Carolina?
Not at all. Not at all.
on it.
We got to win this state in the general election. And I think we're going to be able to do that.
Is Parscale still there?
Yeah,
I
he's
actually went
he's
in
gonna be
and
coming
eeny,
up.
meeny, miny, moed it.
You're
Tell me what.
Between two
Literally
candidates.
in the booth.
In the booth.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
I think we disproportionately stop whites too much and minorities too little.
Put those cops where the crime is, which means in minority neighborhoods. That's where all the crime is. Throw them against the wall.
So there are things we can and should do right away. They can deal with black money, dark money. I'm always happy to take black money contributions in my campaign.
Unchained and unstoppable.
We have more in this arena and outside of this arena than all of the other candidates, meaning the Democrats, put together and multiplied times 5.
We have a bigger crowd here by far just for Donald Trump than we had on Saturday for all of the Democrats.
By the way, does anybody know who won Iowa? Flip a coin. They're going to run your health care. Unbelievable. Nobody knows who won. I think they're trying to take it away from Bernie again. They're doing it to you again, Bernie. They're doing it to you again.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
Good move by Joe Biden to leave the state early. He was supposed to stick around tonight and have a quote-unquote victory party at the Radisson in Nashua, but he fled. That's the verb they're using on the newscast. He fled the state. How'd you like to be a guy who's scheduled to hold a sign for Joe Biden? From 3 to 7 or 8, whenever the polls close in your part of New Hampshire. And you hear the guy, at first he says, I'm not going to win Friday night at the debate. And then he flees the state before the victory party. You think you're rushing out to hold that sign in Concord or Manchester, Dover, wherever, Bedford? I don't think so. And Rush just played a cut from a reporter who's just been interviewing people. They don't do exit polls anymore because it's another casualty of the internet and social media. The networks and the local TV news stations don't have enough money to run exit polls. So they're just interviewing people randomly as they leave the polls. This guy said he'd talked to 100 people. 100 people leaving the polls, and not one of them was for Joe Biden. Oof. That's tough. You said a lot for Klobuchar. So I'm going to bet now it's going to be Uncle Bernie or Bolshevik Bernie, Mayor Pete, Klobuchar, the fake Indian, and then Joe Biden. Wouldn't it be great if Joe Biden could lose to Andrew Yang? I'd prefer he lose to Tulsi Gabbard, but that may be asking too much. This is going to be a very very amusing election evening, I think, from New Hampshire. We should have results pretty quickly. Again, the polls start closing at 7, and they're totally closed at 8:00. So it's not going to take long to come up with the results. And again, I think it's going to be a long evening for the fake Indian as well. Fortunately, I have a 9:00 deadline for the first edition, so I can write her obit. I can send her on the off to the happy hunting grounds in the first edition. Knock on wood. Definitely by the second edition.
Brad's on.
All right. Joining us now on the line is Brad Parscale. He's the campaign manager for President Trump. Brad, thanks for being with us here on the Howie Carr Show.
Thank you for having me on. It's a good day in New Hampshire.
Yeah, we're getting mixed reports on the turnout. That it's some places like Durham, New Hampshire, which is of course the home of the University of New Hampshire. They're saying the turnout is heavy. That's obviously good news for Bernie. Other places they're saying turnout is just kind of mediocre. What are you hearing?
Well, we don't have any reports yet. I've been kind of hoping something would kind of leak out there, but we haven't seen anything yet. The polling results, the polling places we went, it looked like steady flow. It looked good, but I don't know if I can just, anecdotally kind of compare that. I guess we'll have to wait and see tonight.
And I was saying that I don't think there are any network exit polls. Are there anymore in primaries anyway?
No, we haven't seen much of anything today so far. So most likely that means Bernie's doing well.
That's a good way to look at it. If there was a chance for a corporate media candidate to rise out of the ashes, that's the way they would go. Well, listen, let me ask you about.
I've seen everything by now. I've seen everything from these guys by now, so I don't doubt anything.
Yeah. So let's talk about the Bloomberg video that came out, and it's pretty devastating, I would say, for his attempts to win black votes on Super Tuesday. I mean, he's just it's not that that there's anything wrong with stop and frisk, but he's just being very blunt about it. And the president tweeted out about it and said something to the effect that Bloomberg is a total racist. And then he deleted the tweet. But then you picked up the thread and went with it. What's going on with you guys with the Bloomberg? Don't you want to take advantage of it immediately?
Look, I think this video is completely, demeaning and just the provocative characterizations of these minorities is horrible. I mean, it's not the policy; it's all of the comments, the demeaning comments, the way he spoke about Xeroxing, every youth in these minority neighborhoods are carbon copy criminals of each other. I think these statements are just they're out of touch, and it goes to show that Bloomberg is a far touch from the liberal progressive that he says he is.
How about throwing him up against the wall? I mean, that sounds like Bull Connors. Rudy Giuliani would never have said anything like that.
I mean, the entire 60 seconds is shocking, in my opinion, and I think it's going to the mainstream media is now going to be forced to finally write about who Bloomberg really is. Even Bloomberg News, I kind of pushed the button on them today and said, "Hey, will you report this as an investigation?" And they even had to come out and call their own boss pretty much a racist today. So. That's something they're going to have to deal with, and I think it continues to spread out this field, and I think the Democrats just have a weak field, and I think it's going to more and more. My smile grows bigger on our chances for 2020.
Well, how come the president deleted his tweet though?
I haven't talked to him yet today. I've been busy all over the thing. Maybe he just wanted to do something better. Sometimes he works on timing. There's a bunch of reasons. My boss and the president of the United States is a master of his message, and I learned a long time ago. I've been around him about 10 years. I learned a long time ago not to second guess his genius at making sure that everyone gets the point.
Who do you want to win tonight, Brad? I'll share the same thing to you I said to Mike Pence yesterday. Be honest. Who do you want to win tonight on the other side?
I want all of them to exactly split the vote equally.
In other words, you want the clown car to continue into
There you
Nevada
go,
and
sir. Yes, I know.
South Carolina,
You said
and then on to Super Tuesday.
Yes, and the more they spread the delegates out, the more the convention is going to turn into a Democratic show to a Democratic riot.
Did you hear about your major opponent on the Republican side? I want to play this cut for you, and you can respond.
I don't know if we don't have a major opponent.
Okay. Well, I stand corrected. Your opponent on the Republican side, and he's very concerned. Here's why he's running. Cut 29.
We've got the polar ice cap that's going to melt with devastating consequences if we don't get carbon out of the atmosphere.
He's running for the polar bears, Brad Parscale.
Yeah, well, he's searching for any last little string to hang on to. Look, this president has stated from the Trillion Tree Initiative and other things. He cares about this, this environment. He cares about things. He wants to common sense. He wants to make sure the economy and jobs and everything stays strong, and the president's doing the right thing, moving our country forward on both platforms.
I believe the next stop is Phoenix, Arizona. Correct?
Yes. I mean, we got go out to Phoenix, and I think I don't know what else we've been. I think Colorado. We haven't been out west in a while. It's time for us to get out there and see the voters in the Southwest. And I think you'll see in stops like Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, the president's even outperforming from 2016. And I think the Democrats aren't really paying attention. They're living in their own little vacuum. But we're expanding the map. We won 30 in 2016, and I hope to tack on a few more at minimum on the 2020 race. And they keep going far left as they are. We could tack on a few more states and really shock this nation and what President Trump's done for it and what he's going to continue to do for 4 more years.
We're talking to Brad Parscale, the campaign manager for President Trump. Brad, are you concerned? I mean, this is a very bad day for Michael Bloomberg, obviously, and he's got a lot to answer for, and he's going to take a beating with it, even with his allies in the mainstream media. But I mean, he's got all this money. Are you concerned about that?
Well, I don't think money can buy people to like you or to be excited about you. And I think that I just said this earlier today. If you go to a Trump rally, people are visceral excited. If you go to a Bloomberg rally, they're lethargic and confused. So I don't think that's going to change, and money can't buy you more of that. And you can't really just make him something he isn't. Look, is his money a part of the game we have to be strategic for? Yes. But I think this president's going to raise record fundraising, and we're going to be able to be on every doorstep, knocking doors, every phone call we do, all the advertising we can get. And there's only so much advertising you could buy, and we're going to flood the zone in the right places to have the attack. We're not the same campaign we were in 2016. This is our ground game budget alone is 5-6x of what it was in 2016.
Brad Parscale, we appreciate you being with us, campaign manager. That was a great rally last night in Manchester. We look forward to the one tomorrow night in Phoenix, and keep up the good work.
Thank you, sir. See you soon. Talk to you again. Bye-bye.
Thank you. That's Brad Parscale, the campaign manager for President Trump. Something I look forward to every month is my shipment from Butcher Box. The box I got this month came with, among other things, some ground beef, and I just ate some of it. It was the mailroom manager made it into chili over the weekend, and I had some for lunch. And for dinner, I'm going to have some of the chicken tenders that she poached and made with mushrooms and rice. That's for dinner. It's great. The thing about a Butcher Box delivery is, you're all set. You can dream and think about all the great food you're going to get, whether it's the chili or the meat sauce or the burgers on the grill in the summer, or the ground pork that you can make into sausage in the morning, or the chicken tenders, the boneless chicken breast, the steaks, the fantastic steaks, these filet mignons. Some people like chicken thighs. The bacon is fantastic. It's just really, really good. I put a picture of the chicken tenders, the poached chicken tenders, on my Twitter feed on Sunday night, and you can see it. And listen, when you order butcherbox.com, let me know what you think. Post your picture of my recommendation to your social media and tag me at Howie Carr Show and ButcherBox and tell us how you prepared it. I'm telling you, you're going to love it. It's not too late to order for Valentine's Day either. It's a great Valentine's Day gift. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but it's really good stuff. For those of you who are on the fence, ButcherBox delivers 100% grass-fed, organic, and free-range meat with no antibiotics or hormones ever, right to your door. With free shipping, ButcherBox is the most convenient way to get meat the way it's meant to be: natural, fresh, and delicious. And to make things better, ButcherBox is offering new members 2 free filet mignons, 1 pack of bacon, and $20 off your first box when you sign up at butcherbox.com/Howie. That's butcherbox.com/Howie for 2 filet mignons, a pack of bacon, and $20 off your first box. butcherbox.com/Howie. I'm Howie Carr.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Radio Network.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by Nauset Beach Inn. From May 1st to June 19th, get an ocean view room at half price, only $150. Go to nausetbeachinn.com and click special offers. That's nausetbeachinn.com.
He's the co-sponsor of the Green New Deal, so what better time to play some of his greatest hits? Ladies and gentlemen, it's Mr. Frosty.
This is going to be a mission to save all of creation. If you want to ignore that these changes are taking place and that they're having a dramatic impact, then you are in the right place.
You know what the winters were like at Plymouth Rock? Do you know what the winters were like at Plymouth Rock, Senator?
Well, here is the thing.
You don't. How long has your family been in Massachusetts?
We are new arrivals. And, Mr. President, American history was made last night. The Boston Patriots won the Super Bowl. When the Second Amendment was written in order to maintain a well-regulated militia, they did not have in mind that people could purchase guns indiscriminately. The president is acting like Pontius Pilate.
John, what happened at Perfect Smiles when you went?
The initial consultation was easy. In the past, they just hand me a clipboard to fill out the forms, but that's not how it worked at Perfect Smiles. What was nice was it was a true consultation. They asked me my medical history or what I wanted to get out of the treatment plan. For me, I lived with TMJ. I'd literally have to crack my jaw throughout the day to relieve the pressure. I'd get headaches throughout the day. I'd be in pain. When I was at Perfect Smiles, they asked me what I wanted to get out of the treatment. You know, as a joke, I just said, geez, I'd love you to be able to fix my TMJ. And I was surprised because Dr. Houghton specializes in working with patients like me that have TMJ.
What were the results of visiting Dr. Houghton at Perfect Smiles?
Not only did I walk out of that office with a perfect smile, but he fixed my TMJ. It was a life-changing event. People tell me now that my smile is amazing. People would say, geez, John, your teeth look so great. I never realized my teeth looked so bad before. Now I take a look at the before and after pictures and I'm amazed.
Go to Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire, or visit their website, perfectsmiles.com.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Did you have any pets when you were younger?
I had a cat named Dexter. That was my first pet. And then I had possession of 2 poodles when I lived in Palm Beach, Princess and Frisky. They weren't really my dogs, but I took care of them. They lived with me. So they were my dogs. I love those poodles.
When you were a kid, what was the best gift you ever received?
I got this wooden fort from FAO Schwartz in Palm Beach, about the age of 6 or 7, 10 soldiers to go along with it. Such a cool fort. I had that fort for like maybe close to 10 years.
What is your all-time favorite movie?
Probably Goodfellas. I love Goodfellas. I love it even more than The Godfather.
What is your favorite dessert?
Oh, that's a tough one. Probably chocolate ice cream, followed by vanilla ice cream, followed by coffee ice cream.
This is Paul in North Andover, Mass.
This is Luana in Lexington, Massachusetts.
This is Lauren in Augusta, Maine, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
Valentine's is 3 days away, and 1-800-Flowers has an amazing offer. Today only, you can get 18 red roses for $29.99 or upgrade to the 24-stem colorful rose medley plus a vase for only $5 more. To order, go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click on the radio icon, and enter code Howie. 1-800-Flowers.com, click on the radio icon, and enter code Howie. It's getting late. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Will Joe Biden come in 5th place tonight?
I think he will, yes. I've thought about this all day, and then he left. Then he fled.
85% say, yeah, he's finishing pretty much last.
Wow. Just got one light turnout in the Lakes region. This is from 410. I took a blue ballot and voted for Tulsi because she was the cutest and switched back to Indy. I would have voted for Bernie. And Trump didn't. He didn't understand the way it worked yesterday. He thought you could, if you were a Republican, you could walk in and take a Democrat ballot. You have to be an independent today in New Hampshire to take a Democrat ballot, and then you have to switch back, like the guy said in the Lakes region. And he also was taking grief because he mentioned the buses from Massachusetts again. And again, you know, I've said this a million times. I think he could have had the election stolen from him, but it wasn't stolen by the mythical buses from Massachusetts. It was stolen by the college students in the various university towns. That's where he lost the 2016 election. If you take away those college towns, you know, Hanover, Durham, Plymouth, Keene, maybe a couple others, he wins, and Ayotte wins as well. Not that he cares about Ayotte. 844-500-4242. Someone said 808 says 30 plus names on the Democrat ballot today. 30 plus names. Good Lord. Dave, the pharmacist from Lebanon. Everyone on the floor of my apartment got Bernie literature except me. Probably it was the U.S. flag sticker on my door. You know, Dave, I would think, though, the way they've been raising money, didn't they raise $25 million in the last quarter, or maybe it was the last month? Don't you think they had enough money, even though you had that toxic Old Glory on your door, that they could have like slipped a pamphlet for Bernie? Bernie's campaigning for the working classes. Again, as he said it again today, that always cracks me up. Guy who's never worked a day in his life is working for the working classes. Thank you, Bernie. Thank you. John, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, John.
Hasn't been screened.
Oh, sorry. Okay, George, you're I can't tell the difference. George, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, George.
Yeah, Howie. I mean, Joe Biden can definitely thank Nancy Pelosi for this, because he was doing okay, right?
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden, with the impeachment hearings and all the talk about Ukraine and everything else like that, this is the exact reason why he tanked in Iowa. He's tanking here. There's no way he's going to pull it out in the Carolina. Klobuchar's already moving up on him, so
right.
He should just say, "Thank you, Nance."
No, you're right. I mean, sometimes you can overthink something, right? You know, too cute by half. That's the saying. And they got too cute by half. They wanted him to have Iowa all to himself. So instead of splitting up all the TV and the newspaper coverage, all the cameras were on him, and he made a fool out of himself. And couple that with what you were saying, which is that he was getting bombarded every day with this Ukrainian scandal. And you know, he can say as many times as he wants that it's been debunked, but it hasn't been debunked. It's the furthest thing from being debunked. Did you see now that the Justice Department, Bill Barr's Justice Department, is taking in all of Rudy Giuliani's information? You know, I mean, he has the right to give information just like any other private citizen does to the Justice Department. This isn't a rigged system like in the Obama years. I'm glad he's turning it over. That's good news. We're going to speak to Lindsey Graham when we come back. I'm Howie Carr. I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. You get a lot of patients, I'm sure, who are apprehensive about veneers. What are some of the questions and fears you get when you're dealing with new patients?
Some people think they could look too fake, but true cosmetic dentistry is incredibly detail oriented. So we put a lot of time and effort into individualizing how the smile looks, and we really make them look natural, but very, very pleasant.
You know, people are concerned. They wonder, I got my teeth. Do I really want to put caps on?
Exactly. Yeah, they think they'll have that Hollywood look or fake look, but the technology that we have available and the artistry that we can create now really makes things so natural that most people, in fact, most dentists are just surprised that we can create what we can create nowadays. Everyone is different. Everyone has different facial dimensions, different bone structure, and we do everything we can to individualize treatment because there is no one perfect smile. It is your perfect smile.
Dr. Houghton, where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE, 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
Enough with the fake news. You need to listen to Honest Howie's History. In my new weekly podcast, I take you behind the scenes of the most talked about news events and compare them to the past. We're going to go back 100 years here, but let's start with the latest politician in the Kennedy family's crosshairs. Whatever happened to the Massachusetts State Police? Hermann Goering, the Nazi. Nobody thought that there was any conspiracy there. Of course he was going to kill himself. Honest Howie's History. Listen today at HowieCarrShow.com. I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. You get a lot of patients, I'm sure, who are apprehensive about veneers. What are some of the questions and fears you get when you're dealing with new patients?
Some people think they could look too fake, but true cosmetic dentistry is incredibly detail oriented. So we put a lot of time and effort into individualizing how the smile looks, and we really make them look natural, but very, very pleasant.
People are concerned. They wonder, I got my teeth. Do I really want to put caps on?
Exactly. Yeah, they think they'll have that Hollywood look or fake look, but the technology that we have available and the artistry that we can create now really makes things so natural that most people, in fact, most dentists are just surprised that we can create what we can create nowadays. Everyone is different. Everyone has different facial dimensions, different bone structure, and we do everything we can to individualize treatment because there is no one perfect smile. It is your perfect smile.
Dr. Houghton, where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE, 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
So now you've broken your elbow. Have you ever broken any other bones?
When I was 8 years old, I broke my leg. I was playing touch football in Portland, and a big kid, a 15-year-old, tackled me. When I was in my 30s, I was going down the stairs, and one of the kids' toys was on the stairs, and I tripped on it and broke my foot. I lost a tooth playing touch football when I was just out of Deerfield. I got smacked in the jaw. My tooth went up, and I still have a bridge, a crown from that mishap. I have a replacement hip, and now I have a bunch of pins in my left elbow.
When do you plan to retire?
I don't plan on retiring. As an old football coach once said, once you retire, there's only one big moment left. You know what that is.
This is the Howie Carr Show live from Chappaquiddick at the Party House, 25 years after Chappaquiddick 1969 on WHDH, News Talk 850.
Another bad song from 1969. 742-0850. We're going to take some calls this segment if you want to get on board. If you have any questions for John Farrar, the scuba diver who saw Mary Jo Kopechne's body underwater. The number again, 742-0850. We're going to start talking about the incident and everyone's perceptions. John, let me just get this straight. So now what belief is? Excuse me. That while Ted Kennedy was walking past all these houses back towards the Party House where we're broadcasting from now, Mary Jo was still alive.
That is correct.
And she would have been alive probably for about an hour. You think?
I think that's most reasonable, and if an hour, if not longer, that's correct.
If not, this is for my listeners who are still suffering from hair loss and thinning hair. I recently met up with the doctors at New England Center for Hair Restoration, and I was amazed at their consistent results. After hearing my story about hair loss, the doctors agreed to offer the first 40 listeners of my show an initial hair transplant procedure for only $6,000. You heard me right. New England Center for Hair Restoration is offering my listeners this exclusive opportunity to get a hair transplant procedure for the unbelievable price of $6,000. That's a savings of
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242. We're checking to see where the Deval Patrick and William Weld victory parties are going to be tonight. Maybe they can share a room, both being former governors of Massachusetts. Joining us now on the line is Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina. Thank you for being with us, Senator Graham.
Hey, glad to be back.
So what are you doing up here? I know you're a surrogate and all that. What does a surrogate do on a day when the only opponent of your candidate is Bill Weld, and he's running around talking about the melting polar ice caps or melting ice cubes? I don't know, one or the other. What do you do today?
Just screw with Democrats. Just kind of have fun. Just talk about you got more choices. Don't forget, you don't have to go crazy socialist. There's another choice in town.
What do you make of the Bloomberg videos and audios that were released today? And I say audios because he insisted that the video not be released because it's so devastating. And they accused Donald Trump of being a racist. All Republicans, probably even your colleague from South Carolina, Tim Scott, of being a racist. But I mean, how else do you? That what he said was just so inappropriate, wasn't it? How does he get away with it?
Can you imagine if one of us had said that? So under the law, stop and frisk, you have to have a reasonable suspicion that somebody's involved in criminal activity, or he may be involved in criminal activity. What Bloomberg said, the reasonable suspicion is being young and black. That is pretty darn offensive.
Right. So that's like they always say, that cops pull people over, motorists over at DWB driving while black, right? I mean, that's basically what he was saying.
Literally the same concept. Yeah. Well, that's what he literally said, that you throw the young black guy against the wall, you take his gun, and basically the reasonable suspicion was being literally a young black man. And that was pretty stunning. And I think that's going to be a game changer. If it's not, there's an incredible double standard in this country.
I got to ask you about Roger Stone. You saw what happened. The remnants of the Mueller 13 angry Democrats recommend 7 to 9 years for what I think, for obstructing an investigation into nothing. And it looks to me like he just had literally a memory lapse. But what does it matter?
Well, let's just assume for a moment that he did something wrong. I mean, it's a nonviolent offense. The underlying accusation proved to be false. So it's a process crime, and 7 to 9 years is just off the rails. I mean, the bottom line here is this stuff needs to end. Everybody needs to be held accountable within reason, but all reason's been lost when it comes to everything Trump.
Yeah, but Stone is paying the price. So, Lindsey Graham, I mean, we see you on TV all the time, and you're going to get to the bottom of this or that. I mean, when are we going to get some justice here? I mean, this is ridiculous. Flynn was framed. Stone was framed. Forget Manafort, but these, as President Trump said in his tweet this morning about this Roger Stone aberration, he said the real crooks are running free. What are you guys going to do about this in the Senate? You have subpoena power, don't you?
Right. So here's the thing we're not going to do. We're not going to do what they did. We're not going to take the law and turn it into a tool of vengeance. What we're going to do is let Durham do his job. So the prosecutor in this case is Durham. He's looking at all things Russia, all things FISA. He will decide if somebody has broken the law, not me. I'm not a prosecutor. My job is to make sure this crap never happens again. I'm going to call everybody who signed the FISA warrant against Carter Page. And what did you base your judgment on? How does the system work? And pull it up by the roots and make sure that no political campaign in the future is ever treated this way, that we never open a counterintelligence investigation of a political campaign unless there's plenty of checks and balances. So Durham's going to look at lawbreakers. I'm going to try to find what happened here and make sure it never happens again. Those are the two things that are going to happen. I'll start in about 2 weeks.
Hearings in 2 weeks or subpoenas in 2 weeks?
Well, you don't know if you're going to have to people or not, but I'm going to call everybody who signed the warrant, starting with Rosenstein and Sally Yates. You got Comey and McCabe. I want to get the case agent who is in charge of the Russian investigation. I want to get to the bottom of, I want to take the Horowitz report and dive into it and come up with legal changes, law changes to make sure the FISA courts never lied to again, and have some barriers to investigating political campaigns. You can't allow the FBI and others to take the law in their hands when they don't like somebody.
As you know, when Stroke was called up a couple of years ago, he basically deflected every question by saying there was an ongoing investigation. Now that investigation is closed. However, I'm not telling you anything you don't know. I'm just setting that up. Now he is suing for wrongful termination. So what's to stop him from you subpoena him, bring him into the Senate, cameras are rolling, and he says, I can't comment on that because it's the subject of my ongoing civil action against the Justice Department.
Yeah. So we know what he's going to say. We know what he did, right?
Yeah.
But the Department of Justice lawyer who falsified the email,
Kleinsmith,
told the court that, yeah, that's right. That guy is facing
jail
criminal liability.
Yeah.
So we're not going to call him because he literally is probably being looked at by Durham as we speak. But Comey is telling everybody in the country what he thinks. I'd like for him to come and justify to the American system, the American people, how the system so got off the rails. McCabe, would you like to hear him explain how he got it so wrong?
Why hasn't McCabe been indicted? I mean, if you were, again, we
I don't
come up to
know.
this double standard, lack of candor.
Yeah.
Is it not another way of saying perjury? Four
Horowitz,
references,
right? Right. So Horowitz made a recommendation. So here's what I would say to your listeners. Whatever Durham says, I'm going to trust the work product. Mueller found nothing. The Democrats couldn't take nothing to be the right answer. So they start this impeachment crap. They impeached the president based on a phone call, delaying aid that was eventually received ahead of schedule to leverage for an investigation that never occurred. They impeached him in 78 days. These people are nuts. They didn't like the answer they got from Mueller. What we're going to do is let Durham do his job without political interference. If he makes recommendations for prosecution, I'm sure people will be prosecuted. What I'm going to do is try to find out who the whistleblower is, what connection they had to the shift.
You know who we all know who the whistleblower was, right?
Well, there's a process here. Yeah, I think I do.
Yeah.
But I want the public to know the whistleblower statute is not designed to let you make an accusation against the president of the United States that leads to impeachment without your political biases being known. I'd like to know what drove this person. It was all secondhand information. Who did they receive it from? Here's what we've learned over the last 3 or 4 years, a couple of years anyway. There are people in our government who do not want to accept Donald Trump being president.
Right. We know that.
And I want to get to the bottom of it. It's dangerous to have the FBI and the Department of Justice with a political bias, use that bias, use the tools of law to enact their bias. It's dangerous to have somebody in uniform who believes they know better when it comes to policy. I appreciate Vindman's service, but he needs to be asked questions about any relationship he had with a whistleblower, if any, and if there were bias behind these accusations.
Now, Jessie Liu, she was the U.S. attorney for D.C., and she was the one who got the referral on Andrew McCabe on his quote unquote lack of candor. Now she's up at a hearing, and I know it's not your committee, so you're not going to have a chance to question her. But do you think some Republicans on that committee at a hearing for her new job in the Treasury Department on Thursday should ask her what the hell happened to the McCabe prosecution?
Well, but here's the point. I think that you're making. Flynn's going to jail. Right?
Yeah, he shouldn't. But
Stone's facing 7 to 9 years. Here's the point: you can't have a system where a process crime is applied to the Trump world and not to the other side. There's got to be some consistency in the law here.
Right. But I mean, isn't a way to begin to get some consistency to put her, she's going to be under oath. Jesse Liu, the former U.S. attorney, why don't you, can't somebody ask her? But I guess Senator Barrasso is the chairman of the committee. I mean, shouldn't somebody ask her? I mean, why did this guy Wolf from the Intelligence Committee, he leaked the Carter Page FISA document to his girlfriend who worked for the New York Times. We all know that. And then he pleaded guilty to it and got a slap on the wrist. I mean, he did a lot more than Flynn and Stone combined, and he walked away. Why did she allow that to happen?
I am sure that she will be asked questions about her judgment. And all I can say, I promise you and your listeners the following: the Judiciary Committee will get everybody under oath as to how the FISA warrant was issued, try to find out how it got so off the rails and make sure it never happens again. I'm hoping the Intel Committee will find out who the whistleblower is and what political bias they had, if any, and just not let this go. And I hope somebody looks at what Hunter Biden did in the Ukraine.
Comey took Comey said he couldn't remember, I think, 240 times in one of his appearances. How many times
he remembers enough to write a book.
How many times are you going to let him say, I don't remember, I don't recall?
Don't you think it's important that we expose how this thing got so off the rails?
Absolutely.
So it never happens again. If somebody doesn't get fired, then how seriously have we been about cleaning up the mess? Christopher Wray will be the last person I call. They've invalidated 2 warrants. Probably the other 2 are going to fall soon.
Right.
The FISA court reviews the Department of Justice and the FBI. You've got people with conflicts of interest that are still employed by the government. There has to be some sense of accountability here. Why should I trust people to clean up the system if nobody who created the problem gets fired?
Lindsey Graham, I don't mean to put you on the spot like this. I'm just, I'm frustrated, and all of my listeners are frustrated.
You're not the only one.
We're all frustrated by this.
My lane is Department of Justice, FBI. I promise you, I'm doing everything I can to hold those accountable for letting it get off the rails. Somebody should be fired. And the main thing is, if people need to go to jail, that'll be up to Durham. But don't you want to make sure this never happens again to any other political person in the country?
I don't want it to happen to any other person, period, political or otherwise. And
period.
Yeah. All
period.
Right. Senator
if it can
Lindsey.
happen to Trump, my God, think what it can happen to you. Let's get this guy reelected.
Thank you, Senator Lindsey Graham, South Carolina. I'm Howie Carr.
The paper boy with a big microphone, Howie Carr.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by Best Western Adams Inn in Quincy. With beautiful views of Boston, waterfront restaurant, banquet facilities, and a great park and fly deal. Book direct by calling 617-328-1500. Mention Howie and save 10%. Campers, have you thought of upgrading your RV or camper this year? This is Howie Carr. Right now at Cold Springs RV, you can shop great preseason deals on a brand new 2020 camper. Go see the latest in pop-ups, travel trailers, fifth wheels, toy haulers, and motor homes. Cold Springs RV is your one-stop shop with over 200 acres of all things camp. It started with a camp resort, then came the RV center and superstore. Now they have the region's largest state-of-the-art service center and auto body shop. That makes Cold Springs your destination for all things camping. Remember, at Cold Springs RV, the doors are always open so you can freely browse. So go check out the latest 2020 models and see for yourself. If you're looking for a pre-owned RV, you'll also find one of the largest selections in New England. Don't miss the year's best selection and early bird savings at Cold Springs RV, and tell them Howie sent you. Cold Springs RV, Route 114 in Ware, New Hampshire. Online at coldspringsrv.com.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Would you say you're more like your mom or your dad?
No, I don't think I ended up being like either of them, now that I think about it. My mother worked hard, but she never really learned how to make a lot of money. And my father didn't work so hard, but he had a good personality. He was good with people. He was better than me with people. That's why I'm saying I'm not like either one of them, I don't think.
Did you have any siblings?
Yes, I have a brother, a younger brother.
What was your favorite subject in school?
Well, all kinds of history. I loved all kinds of history.
If you could have 3 houses besides the ones you already have, anywhere in the world, where would they be?
I wouldn't mind having another house in Palm Beach on Clark Avenue. Maybe a place in southern Maine. I don't need a third place.
Didn't you already have a house in Maine?
I did. It was on an island. It was not a good fit for the mailroom manager.
I've heard the house was haunted. Is that true?
Yes. And, my wife didn't really care that much for my relatives.
The Subaru of New England, Washington's birthday sales event lasts all month long. Feel the freedom in the all-new, all-wheel drive 2020 Subaru Outback with standard LED headlights, starting at only $26,645 with 0.9% financing for up to 48 months. Or lease for only $249 per month for 36 months with $24.49 due at signing. Details at SubaruofNewEngland.com.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
We went to the White House for the Christmas party. In your opinion, what was the highlight?
The highlight of my trip to the White House with Grace, there were 2. Number one, when we walked into Trump International Hotel, which she'd been dreaming of going to, and her eyes were wide. And then when the president actually came down the stairs, her eyes were even wider. She was so in awe being there. I really felt like King Farouk, I felt like I was giving someone a really great gift that they couldn't get otherwise.
You've had some really good interviews over the years. Which one was your favorite?
I can't really say what the best interview I ever had, but one that just occurred to me was Jesse Helms, the senator from North Carolina. I interviewed him one time, and he went to high school with my mother in Monroe, North Carolina. And the first words out of his mouth were, "Howie, I know your mother before you knew your mother."
This is Lynn in sunny Las Vegas.
This is Dan from the moonbat capital of Jamaica Plain.
This is Gigi in Leominster, Massachusetts, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
They just keep saying, oh, it's a disproportionate percentage of a particular ethnic group. That may be, but it's not a disproportionate percentage of those who witnesses and victims describe as committing the murder. In that case, incidentally, I think we disproportionately stop whites too much and minorities too little.
There's a great headline on Breitbart. This is how Mike Bloomberg secretly talks about black people to white elites. That's what it is. Let's play another of these cuts. And who knows where this came from? Somebody said, did Hillary do this? I wouldn't put it past her, would you? But it could be Bernie too. Again, I think Bernie has a pretty good Oppo research arm. He's learned his lessons from 2016. That you have to fight fire with fire, and I don't think this stuff was too hard to find if you knew what you were doing. And the fact is, they probably got a tip. He refuses to release the video of his appearance before the Aspen Institute. The only way they've got this is apparently some people there recorded it with their cell phones, and that's why a lot of this stuff exists. Let's have, but there are a couple of these recordings. Cut 26.
95% of your murderers, and murder victims fit one MO. You can just take the description, Xerox it, and pass it out to all the cops. They are male, minorities, 15 to 21. That's true in New York, it's true in virtually every city. And that's where the real crime is. You've got to get the guns out of the hands of the people that get killed. So you've got to, if you want to spend the money, put a lot of cops in the street, put those cops where the crime is, which means in minority neighborhoods. So it's one of the unintended consequences is people say, oh my God, you are arresting kids for marijuana, they're all minorities. Yes, that's true. Why? Because we put all the cops in the minority neighborhoods. Yes, that's true. Why we do it? Because that's where all the crime is. And the way you get the guns out of the kids' hands is to throw them against the wall and frisk them. And then they say, oh, I don't want to get caught, so they don't bring the gun. They still have a gun, but they leave it at home.
Throw them up against the wall. That's just a variation on, the old saying about, the cops. Why did someone get beaten up in in the station house, the precinct house, because they liked him for the job. They liked him. That's an old cop expression. I mean, now he says, "Oh, stop and frisk was wrong." I mean, so you have to say, I mean, talk about two-faced. I mean, so was he telling the truth then in Aspen, or is he telling the truth now when he goes around to the black churches and says, "Oh, I'm a bad man"? And meanwhile, Mr. Buttigieg, he's also he was at a black church, and he was looking out at the sea of African American faces, and he started talking about dark money. But he made, I think you could call it a Freudian slip. Cut 27.
The reality is, it's not going to get better in all of the ways we need it to get better without a constitutional reform. So there are things we can and should do right away. They can deal with black money. Dark money. African American money. I'm always happy to take black money contributions in my campaign. Dark money refers to when you can't identify the funding that goes into these super PACs.
The guy who said African American money, that was the moderator. He had a pretty good wit. Professor George, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Professor George.
Yeah, Howie, I went to Johns Hopkins University just like Bloomberg did, so I happen to know that there's a Bloomberg School of Public Health at Johns Hopkins University. Now, are they going to have to take the name off of that school? I mean, if it was the Donald Trump School of Public Health, I'm sure there would be demands to take that name off.
It depends on how much money he gave George and how much it's in the brand. You know, like, I mean, you'll notice they haven't. They've demanded that the John C. Calhoun School at Yale University have its name changed. But Eli Yale, who was a slave trader, who the school is named after, they're not trying to get rid of that, right? And they're not trying to get rid of the Woodrow Wilson School at Princeton University because he used to be the president of the school, and he's kind of inextricably or entwined with the school. So you're right, though. If it were Donald Trump, they would be demanding a removal. Are there any statues of Bloomberg out there that we can tear down, Professor George?
I don't know about that, but Bloomberg.
They're already short
me
enough.
Me and Bloomberg both went to Johns Hopkins, and we both grew up in Medford. Unfortunately, there's 60 billion things we don't have in common.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, if he were Joe Biden, this probably would be the end of the line. But again, there are 60 billion differences between him and Joe Biden, too, and they all have George Washington's picture on them. Okay, thanks, Professor George. We'll be right back with Grace's News. I'm Howie Carr.
Are you looking for a pre-owned car? Well, before you go to the dealership where you'll be pounced on by pushy salespeople, give the Car Guys a try. I'm Bill Papa George, and my job is to make finding the perfect used car as easy as possible. That means I do all of the tough legwork for you. Once I figure out what you want out of a car, I go find it. I've been in this business for a long time, and I know what to look out for. I won't bring you a car unless I know it will meet or exceed your expectations. So give me a call at 800-300-4600. That is 800-300-4600.
Did you miss Howie's opening monologue today? Didn't catch that interview you were looking forward to? Well, tell me you didn't miss the chump line. Even if you did, not to worry. Howie's got your back. Subscribe to the Howie Carr Show podcast today, and you'll get New England's talk radio king on demand. That means you listen to Howie when it's convenient for you. Subscribe to the Howie Carr Show on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts. And don't forget to rate and review. The captain thanks you.
He's the gaff that keeps on giving. Here's 1 minute of former Vice President Joe Biden.
You teachers who touch them, figuratively speaking, well, I hope you touch them and tell them how much you love them too. But my point is, when you touch their hearts.
I get in trouble with some of the things I say, but I want to tell you, just be straight up. If I'm your president, with me, it starts here in my gut, goes to my heart, and then I articulate it.
And by the way, I sit on the stand and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. 1.2 billion. So you go ahead and you stack spaghetti sauce at a store in a supermarket. You control the guy or the woman who brings out the carts on a forklift. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap, and I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
He's the gaff that keeps on giving. Here's 1 minute of former Vice President Joe Biden.
You teachers who touch them, figuratively speaking, well, I hope you touch them and tell them how much you love them too. But my point is, when you touch their hearts.
I get in trouble some of the things I say, but I want to tell you, just be straight up. If I'm your president, with me, it starts here in my gut, goes to my heart, and then I articulate it.
And by the way, I sit on the stand and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. 1.2 billion. So you go ahead and you stack spaghetti sauce at a store in a supermarket. You control the guy or the woman who brings out the carts on a forklift. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap, and I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally meant rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
How did you come up with the name VB?
My first producer and I both had steady girlfriends, or we were married or whatever. And VB was always saying that we were whipped. You know what I mean? Finally, I said, you don't even have a girlfriend. I've never seen you with a female. As a matter of fact, I don't think you have ever had sex. You are just a virgin boy.
What is your biggest fear?
That Donald Trump will not be reelected in 2020 and that some horrible Democrat will come in and finish off the destruction of this once great country.
Out of all of your daughters, who is the least like you and why?
Probably Charlotte, even though we went to the same high school, Deerfield Academy. She has a different sense of her responsibilities than I do. Let me put it that way. She has a different regard for money. She's not a cheap bastard, in other words.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
You are known as a cheap bastard. Which one of your daughters is the cheapest and why?
Charlotte is the cheapest, and I say that because she's always using my credit card. We keep changing the credit cards over and over again, and she keeps busting in and using them again. Most recently, just this week, she spent $75 at AT&T.
What's the cheapest thing you do now to save money?
The cheapest thing I do currently to save money, I guess, is I take all the bottles and cans back to the market basket every weekend. I always like to save that money. You know, I can't stand to throw those bottles and cans away and have the unclaimed returns go to the state of Massachusetts for illegal aliens.
Do you recycle?
Yes, I do recycle. When I got on the town meeting, I saw that the town dump was probably the only department in the town that was running in the black, and it's because of all the recycling that was going on. So I try to keep my taxes down that way.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
I'm the Vice President of the United States.
Love him or hate him, Joe Biden's here for the long haul, but we can't get enough of his gaffes. Here's the best of Uncle Joe's speaking before he thinks.
We choose truth over facts.
When the stock market crashed, Franklin Roosevelt got on television.
Make sure you have the record player on at night.
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids. Okay, look, all right. Look, well, you can frack with me later, okay?
The teachers are kind. I'm married to a teacher. My deceased wife is a teacher. And Corn Pop was a bad dude.
I can tell you, and I've known 8 presidents. 3 of them minimum.
If you agree with me, go to Joe 30330 and help me.
Had over 40 kids shot at Kent State on a beautiful lawn.
I love this place. Look, what's not to like about Vermont in terms of the beauty of it? I said something that was not meant the way I said.
I mean, what is it that I said wrong? I want to be clear. I'm not going nuts.
Anyway, my time's up. I'm sorry.
I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. Dr. Houghton, tell us about the state-of-the-art procedures that can help many people look 10 to 15 years younger.
As we age, we do lose these proper proportions to our faces. And so if you're deficient in your chin or mid-face, we can create the proper proportions and make you look great. Sometimes we use orthodontics to change the look of the face. Sometimes we just use the teeth themselves, and it creates the right support for a beautiful face. They're all non-surgical procedures.
There's some pretty complex cases that you deal with. Give me an example of a tough case.
Well, some cases, people just are missing a lot of teeth. I get a lot of people that come in and think that I cannot solve their problems because they're too great, but I really can. We've been doing this for over 35 years, and there isn't much that we haven't seen.
So even if you're missing a few teeth, or your teeth are discolored, or you're very embarrassed, there's no reason not to come in for a consultation, right?
Absolutely. New techniques, new technology, things are available to us that we never had before, and we can handle just about everything.
Where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
If Mr. Gooner was a person, what college would she attend?
The U.S. Coast Guard Academy.
Is Mr. Gooner a conservative or a Democrat?
Mr. Gooner is a fiscal conservative and a social liberal.
If you could have dinner with any president, dead or alive, who would it be?
Calvin Coolidge. He was from Massachusetts, and I liked his attitude towards public sector unions. And he said, the business of America is business. He's my guy.
Other than yourself, which columnist do you respect the most?
The late George Fraser, he was a columnist for the Boston Herald, the Boston Globe. Most people
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
The Biden campaign was maybe hoping for one of those classic New Hampshire primary surprises. Well, the surprise is for us. I'm heading to South Carolina, as is the former vice president, canceling a plan to celebrate primary night with supporters here in New Hampshire.
Joe Biden is almost on fumes, really. Well, this is a real problem for their campaign. They're beginning to have that feeling of a loser.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
Are you concerned about the message that you're sending to New Hampshire by going to South Carolina?
Not at all. Not at all. We got to win this state in the general election. And I think we're going to be able to do that.
I voted for Amy Klobuchar. I actually went in and eeny, meeny, miny, moed it.
You're kidding.
No, between
literally
two candidates.
in the booth.
In the booth.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
I think we disproportionately stop whites too much and minorities too little.
Put those cops where the crime is, which means in minority neighborhoods. That's where all the crime is. Throw them against the wall.
So there are things we can and should do right away. They can deal with black money, dark money. I'm always happy to take black money contributions in my campaign.
Unchained and unstoppable.
We have more in this arena and outside of this arena than all of the other candidates, meaning the Democrats, put together and multiplied times 5.
We have a bigger crowd here by far just for Donald Trump than we had on Saturday for all of the Democrats.
By the way, does anybody know who won Iowa? Flip a coin. They're going to run your health care. Unbelievable. Nobody knows who won. I think they're trying to take it away from Bernie again. They're doing it to you again, Bernie. They're doing it to you again.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
Welcome to the Howie Carr Show. Today we are simulcasting with America's Most Wanted. And our fugitive of the day is Joseph Biden, age 77, senator, vice president, lawyer, and as of today, fugitive.
He's on the
Lamster.
lamb.
He's on the lam. Last seen leaving a Dunkin' Donuts in Manchester, New Hampshire today. Apparently, his bus boxed in a woman who was trying to get to work with a cup of coffee, and she was screaming at the top of her lungs, according to Politico, as Joe Biden was making his last-minute farewells to the people of the Granite State who are about to give him the bum's rush out of live free or die land. And
well, Howie, that's Dunkin' Donuts' catchphrase, isn't it? America flees on Dunkin'.
he has fled. Why would he do that, Grace? I mean, now he's the lead story. It's not just the voters are trekking to the polls in the nation's first primary of the election season. Now it's Vice President Joe Biden has fled the state ahead of his anticipated fourth or maybe even fifth or even sixth place finish tonight.
Maybe he thought if he got his face on some milk cartons, it would boost his public, recognition.
Yeah, I wonder what the first question he's going to be when he does his first campaign stop in the Palmetto state is going to be. Why aren't you in New Hampshire at your victory celebration in Nashua, Mr. Vice President? So that's the kind of the bottom line is the 2020 campaign for president for Joe Biden is a lot like the 2008 campaign for president, which was a lot like the 1988 campaign.
Howie, I found the song that the New Hampshire residents are going to be singing about Joe Biden tonight.
What's that? Let's hear it.
Where are you tonight? Why did you leave me here all alone?
All right. So did you have a good time last night at the rally for the president of Manchester, New Hampshire, Grace?
Howie, I had a wonderful time. If you ever want to send me to a rally, I am there. I felt like a quasi-celebrity because I had my Howie Carr badge on and I was getting recognized a little bit, and that was nice. But I also was kind of starstruck by all the people I was meeting. Don Trump Jr. I didn't meet him, but I saw him from afar. And then, of course, I met all those senators. But it was really awesome. The energy, I mean, people talk about it all the time, Howie. I think when we went last time, I think it was either 2015 or 2016, Howie, when we went in New Hampshire. Was that
2016? Yeah.
And Brandon asked me today, he said, what was it like compared to that? And I have to say, it was so much bigger. Right. The energy, there were signs everywhere, Women for Trump. Everyone had MAGA swag. Everyone had,
that was in Milford. There weren't as many people because there wasn't as much room. It was a much smaller venue.
But also it wasn't a proven thing yet that it was going to work. And now there's all these people who believe it and who have seen it with their own eyes. And there's kids there, and there's teenagers, and there's black people, and there's white people, and there's cowboy hats and scally caps. It's just, it's so cool to see all these different people showing up to support the president. And I have to say, you see all these guys, like we just had Lindsey Graham on, and Rand Paul and Kevin McCarthy. They're all lined up in their VIP seats. And I told Howie this last night. I said, these guys have never seen anything like this. So a lot of times when we're at home, we worry about these Republicans. We think, God, I hope they have a backbone. I hope they are not so weak-kneed. And watching them last night at this event, and they're going to all these things with Trump, I find it hard to believe that they're not watching this and saying to themselves, this is unbelievable. We have never had this kind of energy and enthusiasm in our party. We have to keep this going. They would be fools not to.
Trump had all these problems with guys like Rand Paul. He made fun of his hair. Remember that? And with Lindsey Graham, he gave out his cell phone number at a rally. And now they're his buddies. They're his allies.
But even going back to people like Mike Pence, the vice president, I mean, when you look at Mike Pence, he walks out of the tunnel and it's like walking into the Super Bowl. I mean, people are screaming for your name. I mean, I just have to think that Mike Pence, who before this, what was the song, Howie? Oh, Indiana's talking, the Mike Pence show. This is he went from that to being Mick Jagger out there. It's insane. And these guys, I've never seen it before. And when you're there, you just think to yourself, we got to keep this going. You'd be shooting yourself in the foot if you stood in Trump's way.
Let's play the whole Jonathan Karl cut from ABC News. This is ABC News. Of course, they've been one of the prime suppliers of fake news over the years with George Stephanopoulos, the ultimate Democrat operative with a press pass. But they had Karl at the rally last night in Manchester, and this wasn't. I don't think this was on any of the network newscasts. Certainly wasn't on the evening news. I don't think it was on Good Morning America either, but it was on their website. So let's just play this cut of him describing it with some, I would say, trepidation in his voice about the size of the Trump crowd. Cut 30.
Trump supporters are as fired up as I have ever seen them. I mean, this rally is in an arena that I was at just 2 nights ago, Saturday night, at an event that included all of the major Democratic candidates for the Democratic nomination. And we have a bigger crowd here by far just for Donald Trump than we had on Saturday for all of the Democrats. Some of these people were waiting out line starting yesterday. And trust me, Manchester, New Hampshire, it is cold, it is rainy. Snow on the ground. They're waiting more than 24 hours, some of them, to come here. So yes, Trump supporters are very energized. You've got the impeachment acquittal, good news on the economy, and Democrats coming out of Iowa seem to be in disarray. They feel like they're on the winning side. And also, by the way, Trump's approval rating is at its highest level ever.
Yeah, he does seem a little bit. There's a tone there. There's a tone.
And now I'm going to throw it back to the studio so I can have myself a good cry.
Exactly. All of his inflection goes down. Trump's doing really well. Everybody here is having a lot of fun. There's a lot of lines.
Well, didn't some of the people you were dealing with that work at the arena tell you about how much different, how different it was last night as compared to the Democrats event with all of the candidates on Saturday night?
I talked to a security guard and he didn't want to tell me his name, but he said, this gives me a lot of hope that I'm seeing all these people here. It's so nice. And he said he was at the event with the Democrats. And I said, oh, do they have as many people as this? And I asked genuinely because I didn't know about the event. And he laughed and rolled his eyes and he said, what do you think? And he was really nice. But Howie, the other thing I have to say is I talked to some people working the rally and they said to me, Trump does not allow the cameras to turn on before 6:30 because he knows that the mainstream media will take pictures of the half-empty auditorium that just hasn't filled up yet because people haven't been let in and post it on their Twitters and say, energy's down, people aren't showing up.
They in fact have done that. That's not a suspicion that they have. That has been done in the past. I think a guy from the Washington Post did that. Yeah.
Right. And so you just get the sense of how dishonest they are from the people working the rallies who have to be so careful about making sure the camera guys stay where they're supposed to be and they stay in the pit and they don't go off and, take pictures of people that they're not supposed to. It was really interesting to see. And I had so many. The thing I have to say is everyone is so courteous. Like they love to portray Trump supporters as these redneck deplorables who are, wreaking havoc. And everyone is so nice, so courteous to the security and the firemen there on standby. It was just the nicest crowd.
Did you meet any credulous boomer rubes?
I did. I took a lot of pictures with boomer rubes. I was very happy to. I am a big fan of boomer rubes. Some people might say they make up a lot of my base of fans out there. Howie, I got to let people know, though, before we go to break, that Valentine's Day is only 3 days away, and 1-800-Flowers has an amazing offer. Today only, you can get 18 red roses for $29.99 or upgrade to the 24-stem colorful rose medley plus a vase for only $5 more. To order, go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click the radio icon and enter code Howie. The vase makes a big difference, guys. So I would definitely go for it because a lot of times, especially if you're on the younger end, people don't have all this stuff lying around and they don't want to find it and cut it up. We got it in the vase scent here and it was the easiest thing. You literally just open the box and it's ready to go and you can plop it on the table. And don't forget to get flowers. Send them to her work. I know from my own experience, I like getting them at work. I like everybody in the studio going, ooh, Grace got flowers. It's fun. So just do it and do it today because you're not going to have a lot of time left.
1-800-Flowers.
Code Howie.
978 says, my friend is a police officer in Manchester. He had to post on his Facebook page that he couldn't get anyone into the rally because people had been pestering him for weeks.
I mean, the lines were just outrageous, and people were just, like Carl said, they were sitting on the sidewalks waiting with umbrellas, and then when they don't get in, they play it on the screen outside so people can watch from outside, and everybody stays for the whole speech and watches outside. That is the energy. That's the commitment to the MAGA cause. Guys, it's a great day to get on the Chump line. 844-500-4242. Press 2 to get on the Chump line.
Calling all cars. Bolo, Joseph Biden. He's wandered off from the nursing home.
Yeah, exactly, Howie. People should just tell us on the Chump line where Joe Biden could be. Where it used to be, where's Hunter? Now it's where's Joe?
Where in the world is Joe Biden tonight? Every night, local police departments across America receive hundreds of calls from burglar alarms. The vast majority of the time, they have no idea whether the alarm is real. Is there really a crime going on or not? All the alarm company can tell them is the motion sensor went off. Simply Safe Home Security is different. If there's a break-in, Simply Safe uses real video evidence to give police an eyewitness account of the crime. That means police dispatch up to 350% faster than for a normal burglar alarm. You get comprehensive protection for your entire home. Outdoor cameras and doorbells alert you to anyone approaching your home. Entry, motion, and glass break sensors guard inside. Plus, Simply Safe protects your home from fires, water damage, and carbon monoxide poisoning. It's 24/7 monitoring by live security professionals. You can set up your system yourself, no tools needed, or Simply Safe can do it for you. And it's only 50 cents a day with no contracts. Visit simplysafehowie.com. You'll get free shipping and a 60-day risk-free trial. Go now and be sure you go to simplysafehowie.com so they know that our show sent you. That's simplysafehowie.com. I'm Howie Carr.
A nightmare to liberals everywhere. He's Howie Carr.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by Nauset Beach Inn. From May 1st to June 19th, get an ocean view room at half price, only $150. Go to nausetbeachinn.com and click special offers. That's nausetbeachinn.com.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Is Kennedy Babylon 2 your last book?
No, if I think of another topic for a book I want to write, I'll go for it. But I think it's the last of my Kennedy Babylon series. I made Kennedy Babylon 2 kind of long because I wanted to get everything in there. Now there's other stuff I could write. I'm now very surprised how much I used to eat. I'm surprised at how much people I eat with consume. It's just hard to believe that I used to eat that much. But no, it's not a problem.
How is Mr. Gooner since Pearl's passing?
Mr. Gooner is drowning his sorrows in food.
What is the most trouble you ever got into as a kid?
My father was giving me grief one time up at Moosehead Lake in Maine, and I threw a rock at him. He didn't much like that. John, what happened at Perfect Smiles when you went?
The initial consultation was easy. In the past, they just hand me a clipboard, the fill out the forms, but that's not how it worked at Perfect Smiles. What was nice was it was a true consultation. They asked me my medical history or what I wanted to get out of the treatment plan. For me, I lived with TMJ. I'd literally have to crack my jaw throughout the day to relieve the pressure. I'd get headaches throughout the day. I'd be in pain. When I was at Perfect Smiles, they asked me what I wanted to get out of the treatment. As a joke, I just said, geez, I'd love you to be able to fix my TMJ. And I was surprised because Dr. Houghton specializes in working with patients like me that have TMJ.
What were the results of visiting Dr. Houghton at Perfect Smiles?
Not only did I walk out of that office with a perfect smile, but he fixed my TMJ. It was a life-changing event. People tell me now that my smile is amazing. People would say, geez, John, your teeth look so great. I never realized my teeth looked so bad before. Now I take a look at the before and after pictures and I'm amazed.
Go to Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire, or visit their website, perfectsmiles.com.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Out of all of your books, which is your favorite title and why?
I think my favorite title is Hitman because it's very effective. I thought long and hard about it. We're going to make it Boston Hitman, but then why make it Boston Hitman? Just make it Hitman. Make it a universal subject.
If you could have dinner with one author, dead or alive, who would it be?
I would probably have dinner with William Shakespeare. I know that's a cliche response, but he was the greatest writer in the English language. No question about it.
If you won Mega Millions, would you retire completely?
I used to say no, I would not retire, but yeah, I think I would retire now.
If you had to leave all of your money to one charity, which would it be?
The Salvation Army. I like what the Salvation Army does. I don't think they have too many highly paid executives trying to be social justice warriors.
This is Jay in Hingham, Massachusetts.
This is Gloria from Haverhill, Mass.
Hi, this is Joe from Howie in the Hills, Florida, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
844-500-4242. Limerick guy says, H, it's Tapioca Tuesday at Shady Pines, and plugs ain't going to miss that. 401, get in line, get with the times, Howie. It's a silver alert for Joe Biden. I forgot. You know, what am I saying, Bolo? You're right. It's a silver alert. Jay from Chelsea, Joe Biden missing. Whomever, don't pay the ransom, please. It's so unkind. The headline on Breitbart right now is electile dysfunction, Biden pulls out early from New Hampshire, skipping own victory party.
I'm characterized as the old guy.
Well, isn't he the third oldest after Bernie and Bloomberg? He's only the third oldest, but he's going to finish fifth tonight, perhaps.
He's younger than Mike Bloomberg?
Yeah. You didn't know that? Yeah.
Wow.
They're all right there, you know, and within a year of each other, but I think it's 78, 78, 77. And then
that's one race that Joe Biden is winning when it comes to who acts the oldest. He is winning that race without a doubt.
Yeah. All those facelifts didn't really pay off for him, you know, when you can't really speak in complete sentences anymore. Valentine's is 3 days away, and 1-800-Flowers has an amazing offer. Today only, you can get 18 roses for $29.99 or upgrade to the 24-stem colorful rose medley plus a vase. That's what Grace was just talking about, for only $5 more. To order, go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click on the radio icon and enter code Howie. It's the perfect gift, guys, for Valentine's Day. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Will Joe Biden finish in fifth place tonight?
I think he will, yes.
86% think so.
Howie, I really want to read you this story before I have to go. I know you were talking about Mike Bloomberg. Obviously, the audio of him talking about stop and frisk that came out today is, really damaging for his campaign. And a lot of people think this is going to be really bad for him, but I have good news for Mike Bloomberg.
What's that?
This is amazing news. It turns out that Michael Douglas is saying that his dad, Kirk Douglas, backed Mike Bloomberg for president before he died.
That's easy to say now, right? It's like when Bob Woodward wrote the book about the CIA, and he said that Bill Casey had confessed everything on his deathbed. Those deathbed confessions, you need a witness.
I mean,
to make it stand up in court, don't you?
Aren't the Douglases in California? Kirk is still probably going to cast a vote.
But that's a pretty, how do I say this without disparaging Kirk, who, is a beloved figure on this show. That's a pretty lame deathbed type of deal. Like, come here. I got one last thing to say to you. Bloomberg 2020. Like, really? So even though he's had a really bad day in some senses, kind of a good day in other senses, even though Kirk has passed, at least he knows that in spirit, he wanted Mike Bloomberg to win. You don't need Beyonce and Jay-Z. Kirk Douglas.
Yeah, Joe Biden thought he was going to get the coveted Kirk Douglas endorsement. But again, he's not quite as old as Mike Bloomberg.
That's what set him over the edge. That's why he ran away. He saw the headline. Are you kidding me? Et tu, Kirk?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I got other news to tell you. Hollywood soap boxing drags Oscars to all-time low ratings. This is from Page 6. The biggest flop of the award show season, the award show itself. So they did not have a host. I think that's what helped the Golden Globes a little bit, was that they had Ricky Gervais, and he was a really good host.
Yeah.
This was the 92nd installment of the Oscars, and they did not have a host. They had a lot of...
I thought Chris Rock made some jokes. Was he just like a sort of a guest host for one segment or something?
Yeah, him and Steve Martin got up towards the end and just did a little, little roast of people, but not a real host. And people got up, and, Brad Pitt said, I only have 45 seconds. That's 45 more seconds than John Bolton got to testify. The same kind of stuff.
Not only were they down like 25%, but in the prime demo, 18 to 49, they were down 31%. 31% year to year. That's really bad. We'll be back. I'm Howie Carr.
The 2020 elections have the potential to shape the next decade financially. That's especially true if you're within 10 years of retirement. Is your plan ready? Find out with a portfolio stress test from Kevin Frisbee at Frisbee & Associates. Call 800-989-9100 for your no-cost, no-obligation analysis. Kevin can help uncover any hidden fees that may be lurking in your plan. The team at Frisbee & Associates are up to date on all the latest rules and regulations, from what the Secure Act is and isn't to Social Security and Medicare. Let Kevin and the team give you peace of mind as you get near retirement. Make sure your plan is ready for whatever happens come November. It starts with a phone call to Frisbee & Associates, 800-989-9100. And be sure and catch Kevin on the Howie Carr radio program every Thursday at 3:50 as he reviews the market. Call Kevin now at 800-989-9100. 800-989-9100.
The Democrat Party is so full of loonies, social justice warriors, progressives, whatever you want to call them, that sometimes certain moonbats get overlooked. So let's take this moment to shine the woke spotlight on Crazy Maisie Hirono.
I am not going to be a fool to Mitch McConnell's shenanigans. Why should any of us? And it's not just a dog whistle, it's a bullhorn. Bullhorns. It's racism. It's basically, for many people, it's anti-Semitic. It's white supremacy.
Why not take a stand and vote yes for it? Seems like you're trying to have it both ways, not be hung by it politically, but also not say that you don't support it.
I disagree with you, Katie, that why should we engage in the kind of sham shenanigans that Mitch McConnell is really good at? I'm confused. This was just a sham. Guess who's perpetuating all of these kinds of actions? It's the men in this country. And I just want to say to the men in this country, just shut up and step up. I think the noose is closing, and, Giuliani is like a loose cannon, and so is the president, frankly.
I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. You get a lot of patients, I'm sure, who are apprehensive about veneers. What are some of the questions and fears you get when you're dealing with new patients?
Some people think they could look too fake, but true cosmetic dentistry is incredibly detail-oriented. So we put a lot of time and effort into individualizing how the smile looks, and we really make them look natural, but very, very pleasant.
People are concerned. They wonder, I got my teeth. Do I really want to put caps on?
Exactly. Yeah, they think they'll have that Hollywood look or fake look, but the technology that we have available and the artistry that we can create now really makes things so natural that most people, in fact, most dentists are just surprised that we can create what we can create nowadays. Everyone is different. Everyone has different facial dimensions, different bone structure, and we do everything we can to individualize treatment because there is no one perfect smile. It is your perfect smile.
Dr. Houghton, where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE, 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Who was your favorite actor?
Humphrey Bogart, no doubt about it. I love all the old Humphrey Bogart movies. Jimmy Cagney would be a close second.
Do you have a celebrity crush?
No celebrity crushes.
Ginger or Marianne?
I always was a Marianne person. Never was bowled over by that Hollywood look. Plus, Ginger was in more revealing attire, scantily clad.
Salty or sweet?
Neither, but if I have to pick, I'll go with sweet.
Movies or TV?
TV.
McDonald's or Burger King?
McDonald's, although I'd prefer Five Guys.
Facebook or Twitter?
Definitely Twitter. I hate Facebook.
Cake or pie?
I'm a cake guy.
Coke or Pepsi?
Diet Coke.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee, obviously.
Winter or summer?
Summer. Good Lord. Why would you want winter? It's cold and it's dark.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Did you have any pets when you were younger?
I had a cat named Dexter. That was my first pet. And then I had possession of 2 poodles when I lived in Palm Beach, Princess and Frisky. They weren't really my dogs, but I took care of them. They lived with me. So they were my dogs. I love those poodles.
When you were a kid, what was the best gift you ever received?
I got this wooden fort from F.O. Schwartz in Palm Beach, about the age of 6 or 7, 10 soldiers to go along with it. Such a cool fort. I had that fort for like maybe close to 10 years.
What is your all-time favorite movie?
Probably Goodfellas. I love Goodfellas. I love it even more than The Godfather.
What is your favorite dessert?
Oh, that's a tough one. Probably chocolate ice cream, followed by vanilla ice cream, followed by coffee ice cream.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studio.
844-500-4242. A good day to get on the chump line. That's the number to call. 844-500-4242. Just press 2 and leave your message. Where do you think Joe Biden is? He's on the lam. He's taking it on the lam, as they say. He's fled. New Hampshire. 617 says, Jubinville is collecting signatures at the West Roxbury Roach Brothers. Do we like him? Jubinville is the governor's council. He's my governor's counselor, too. It's a weird district, runs all over the place. But yeah, I would give Jubinville a signature. He votes the right way sometimes. That's the most you can ask of the governor's council. It's a hawk shop, as Governor Curley used to say. Joining us now on the news line is Sean Duffy. He was with us briefly yesterday, and he's a former congressman from Wisconsin. And he's he quit. He has some family problems, a sick child, and he resigned to take care of his familial obligations. And Sean, I really salute you for that, and I think all of us do. It's very seldom you see that in politics today.
And so, yeah, if we don't put our families first, we don't get anything right. So I don't regret my decision, but thank you for mentioning that.
Well, let me ask you this. I asked this of Lindsey Graham last hour, the senator from South Carolina. What does a surrogate for Donald Trump do on primary day in New Hampshire?
Yeah, I could say so. I've been at polling places, diners, coffee shops out there, pushing the president. So obviously, we all know the president's going to win the primary today. He doesn't really have a challenger. However, this is about enthusiasm. Donald Trump was very close to New Hampshire in 2016. We think he can win here in November of 2020. And it's about ginning up the crowd, getting people excited. And it was remarkable. If you added up all the liberals that are out there for Bernie Sanders and Amy Klobuchar and Mayor Pete, add them all together, we had more Trump supporters at the rally than all of them combined. It's remarkable, the support. Doesn't really have a contested primary.
We have a huge audience in New Hampshire. We're on multiple stations for the afternoon drive. A lot of people still haven't voted, and I'm getting texts from people saying, if in New Hampshire today, if you're an independent, you can take the Democrat ballot and vote Democrat. And some people are saying, not many, but a few people are saying they took the ballot and they voted for Bernie just to run their own personal Operation Chaos, as Rush used to describe the 2008 campaign, to keep Hillary in the fight. Why should independents take a Republican ballot? Why should they take a Republican ballot to vote for Trump when we all know how that one's going to turn out? Why shouldn't they just cause chaos by voting for Bernie or somebody else?
Well, I think it's important to send a message in New Hampshire that we can win and we will win. And if you look at what it means to the Trump campaign, he was here last night, as you and I both know. I was at the rally when I spoke to you. But that he has surrogates, that Lindsey Graham is here, Mark Meadows is here, Matt Gaetz is here, I'm here. We're all here because we want people to be excited about President Trump and to get the vote out for the president. They wouldn't spend the money if they wanted Operation Chaos. They wouldn't put us all here if they wanted Republicans and independents to go vote for Democrats. We want to show a force. We want to show that this is a state that's going to go for President Trump, and that's why the surrogates are out hitting it so hard.
Yeah, somebody just sent me. They announced in their town or city that the votes at 4 o'clock Eastern, and it was 4,900 votes, and 2,100 of them were Republican, which seems like an awful lot to me, considering there's basically no race on the GOP side. So I think President Trump's going to get a lot of votes here.
I do too. I mean, it's amazing as we were out there rallying people and having fun as folks were coming in to vote. The number of Trump supporters was amazing as they were coming in. And you've probably heard this as well, Howie. I think this is a race between, Pete Buttigieg and Bernie Sanders right now. They have a lot of energy. Elizabeth Warren, obviously a neighboring state, but she has nothing going on in New Hampshire, really. I mean, she's almost like Joe Biden, a no-show. And I think we're going to
really, because they've been saying, Sean,
Yeah.
they've been saying that she has a good organization to get out the vote. I mean, she's been sending out these vibes. Well, it's a long haul, and we've already got staff in Michigan. That's a way of saying I'm going to lose badly here tonight. But I mean, you're not seeing anybody holding Elizabeth Warren signs.
No. Oh yes, unless I was in the holes that she has in New Hampshire. New Hampshire's not that big. She had nothing out there. There was nothing out there. I didn't see signs. I didn't see people. She was as prevalent as Joe Biden. And you just mentioned he has a jailbreak out of New Hampshire, and he's going to South Carolina because he's going to get crushed here. And by the way, that speaks volumes about Elizabeth Warren's campaign. I mean, this is her neighboring state. That she wouldn't play hard here if she could. She would. And her message just isn't resonating. She's losing steam. And I think she's going to be out in the next, 2 to 3 weeks out of the race.
Really? You don't think she's going to make it to Super Tuesday?
I don't. She might slide into Super Tuesday, but she's going to lose all steam. I think she's bad performance today. She won't do well in South Carolina, and she's going to be done, just like Joe Biden. And it's going to be Mayor Pete. It's going to be Biden. It's going to be Bloomberg, but Bloomberg's having a really bad day today as well with his, racist comments. And then I think Amy sticks around because she, instead of losing money, I think she's going to continue to gain some steam because the bar was set so low for her. As long as she gets over it, which I think she will here in New Hampshire, she's going to still have supporters out there who are going to help fund her campaign to go to future states.
You were in Congress for a number of years. I mean, what do you think of the strategy to have the impeachment trial to keep everybody's saying that this was the DNC strategy to keep the other senators or in the trial and stuck in Washington so Joe could have Iowa to themselves. I mean, himself. Do you think that was their game plan? And if it was, I mean, how badly did it backfire on them?
I don't believe that for a second. I think that this was the AOC wing of the party who was ginned up by their base to impeach Donald Trump. And I believe, and listen, I'm not a fan of Nancy Pelosi, but Nancy Pelosi understood the politics of impeachment. She knew that it was a bad deal for Democrats. She was forced into it. And, they ran this timeline trying to get as much out of the House vote in the Senate with witnesses. Nancy Pelosi thought that she could put pressure on Mitch McConnell to get the kind of rules that she demanded out of the House in the Senate, which never happened. I was in the House for 8.5 years, Howie. The Senate always beats the House. I hate to say it. It bugs the heck out of me, but they always beat us. And then she thought that she could force rules on Mitch McConnell. Impossible. So I think they fumbled that ball. There was no strategy behind it at all. And I think a lot of Democrats, though they like Joe, he has a soft place in their heart. They know that he doesn't have the razzle dazzle. He doesn't have the energy. He's not a sparkling candidate. They all saw that in him in the debates. And I don't think they're willing to bet their horse on his candidacy.
I was never in Congress, and neither were almost all of our listeners and viewers. And we all knew that Mitch McConnell wasn't going to blink. I mean, she's been there for 100 years. What was she thinking of?
Well, I think she took some bad advice. I thought that she believed that there'd be enough political pressure. And by the way, they tried. I mean, all the liberal networks, all the liberal newspapers, which means all the networks and all the newspapers, were trying to put pressure on him. But what's unique is, Mitch has a body of 100, and he's able to call his shots and call his ball, and he knows how to run the Senate better than anybody else. But she thought she could put the pressure on him, and it just didn't work. And now what they've done is, this is the connection I think that we have here. Republicans are angry, they're mad, and that's when you just mentioned the numbers of how well Republicans are coming out in some of these precincts. It's because they're here for Trump because Trump has been here for them, and they're so mad about impeachment they want to come out and support him. And that's why you don't go vote for Democrats. That's why you don't grab the Democrat ballot. That's why Operation Chaos doesn't work. This is a hand gesture towards liberals who tried to impeach our president, who's done so great for this country. Go vote for him. Go show your support. Don't vote for Democrats.
603, I just got another text. Drove by a polling site in Lebanon. All Bernie people holding signs. No other candidates or supporters. Wow.
That's it. Can I tell you one thing? I was at a polling place, and it was just Trump supporters, and Mayor Pete and Bernie Sanders signs were all laying down in the grass. They'd all packed up and gone home, and we were wondering, they must have been paid only for a couple hours of work. So they put their signs away and went home. And the Trumpers were there volunteering, excited, and it was only us. The others are going home. Okay, going home, wrapped it up.
The firefighters have been with Bernie all weekend. You've seen them. They got the yellow signs. Firefighters for Biden, I should say. And how would you like to be a firefighter? You're in the union. You're trying to move up, and they tell you, Joe, you got to go down to Lebanon and hold a sign for Biden after you get off at 4:00 till the polls close at 7 or 8. And you're driving and you're listening on the radio. Joe Biden fled to South Carolina. You think you're going to go there, Sean? I mean, you've been in many campaigns. I mean, how does that energize people to go out and vote, let alone hold signs?
Here's what happens: they take off that firefighter shirt and they put on their "Make America Great Again" hat and shirt, and they go do it for Trump. They go where their heart is at. At the rally, what was great last night, we had all these police officers that were there with cops for Trump. All over in the background. Coming, I was at the polling sites today. I was, kind of yelling up to the cops, make New Hampshire great again, and MAGA. They can't show any political bias, but they were smiling as I was, giving them a little push to support the president because he supports them. I mean, as you have the left going after, law enforcement and firefighters, Donald Trump is standing up for them, fighting for them. I mean, that they're getting water thrown on them, they're getting shot. And liberals say nothing, and Donald Trump is like, unacceptable. We're not going to tolerate that in America. They love him for that. And
Elizabeth Warren says the justice system is racist front to back right after 2 cops get shot down in cold blood in her home state of Massachusetts. I mean, she's not getting any police support. Here's one last thing before we go, one last text. We live in Derry, New Hampshire, and there were tons of Trump signs at our polling place. The amazing thing was there were no signs for any other candidates. None, not one other candidate. So where is all the Democrat enthusiasm that we were told was going to overwhelm Trump? Doesn't seem to be out for the second week in a row. Last week in Iowa, this week in New Hampshire.
Yeah, and I think that's what's going to shock the Democrats. That's a great point, Howie. You're going to see Democrats go, we underperformed in Iowa. We're going to underperform in New Hampshire. This does not look good for beating Donald Trump in 2020. I mean, I think those are telltale signs. And in the same token, you're going to see a historic number for an incumbent president with a show up at the polls with voters coming to support them when they don't have a race. That's what I think the story is going to be coming out of New Hampshire.
Yeah, I think so. Sean Duffy, it's always a pleasure to talk to you, former congressman from Wisconsin, and we'll talk to you again soon, I'm sure. Thank you. I'm Howie Carr.
He's suave, he's debonair, he's Howie Carr.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you today in part by Rejuven Ice Cryo in Peabody. Bring down inflammation and increase energy at Rejuven Ice Cryo at 194 Newberry Street in Peabody, Massachusetts. This is for my listeners who are still suffering from hair loss and thinning hair. I recently met up with the doctors at New England Center for Hair Restoration, and I was amazed at their consistent results. After hearing my story about hair loss, the doctors agreed to offer the first 40 listeners of my show an initial hair transplant procedure for only $6,000. You heard me right. New England Center for Hair Restoration is offering my listeners this exclusive opportunity to get a hair transplant procedure for the unbelievable price of $6,000. That's a savings of $4,000 for qualifying patients. If you've always wanted a hair restoration and couldn't afford it, New England Center for Hair Restoration is where you want to go. A hair transplant procedure for $6,000 for the first 40 people. This offer won't last long. For those who qualify, third-party financing is available with monthly payments as low as $119. Call 800-313-HAIR for your free consultation. That's 800-313-HAIR. Call 800-313-HAIR. The Moobats always say Donald Trump isn't very bright. But what about Barack Hussein Obama? Let's listen to some of his greatest hits.
I've now been in 57 states. I think one left to go. I don't know what the term is in Austrian. The Cambridge police acted stupidly.
And there has never been any man or woman more qualified for this office than Hillary Clinton.
There are neighborhoods around the country where it is easier for a 12 or 13-year-old to purchase a gun and cheaper than it is for them to get a book. I believe in the Second Amendment. It's there written on the paper.
If we fall for, a bunch of okey doke.
A few months ago, when you were asked what's the biggest geopolitical threat facing America, you said Russia, not Al Qaeda. You said Russia. In the 1980s are now calling to ask for their foreign policy back.
The Subaru of New England, Washington's birthday sales event lasts all month long. Feel the freedom in the all-new, all-wheel drive 2020 Subaru Outback with standard LED headlights, starting at only $26,645 with 0.9% financing for up to 48 months. Or lease for only $249 per month for 36 months with $2449 due at signing. Details at SubaruofNewEngland.com.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
If you could go back in time and give your younger self advice, what would you say?
Get a state job, because behind the job comes the pension.
What's the best advice anyone's ever given you?
Most advice is pretty forgettable.
What's the best money you've ever
Hey,
spent?
what's up? The investment I made to leave the corporate radio prison I was in, the worst people I ever worked for, no doubt about it. I'd probably be dead if I were still working for them.
If you were on a deserted island and you could only bring 3 things, what would you bring?
A radio, a Wi-Fi system, obviously, and a computer, and I would bring some books. Don't ask me which books, too hard a question.
What was your dad's job when you were growing up?
My dad worked as a resort hotel manager. He worked in Florida at the Breakers in the winter, and then he worked at the Mountain View House, as it was called then, in Whitefield, New Hampshire, and various other places.
Hi, my name is Jane Lucas, and I am from the town of South China, Maine.
This is Al from Merrimack, New Hampshire.
Hey, I'm Angela from Brewster on the Cape, and this is the one and the only Howie Carr Show.
There's an art to going on the lam. I learned this. I wrote a book with Johnny Materano, the hitman from Boston, who spent 16 years on the lam. The trick is you go on the lam before you are indicted, because you don't want to be picked up, because then you have to make bail and you forfeit the bail, whatever it is, $50,000, $100,000. And if you leave before you're indicted, then the people who harbor you as a fugitive, you can say, they didn't know I was a fugitive. I didn't know I was indicted. Neither did my girlfriend or my brother or whoever. And it's not believable, but they can't prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. So nobody gets in a jam, or not that much of a jam anyway. That's the way I was taught, and you go on the lam because then you can cut a deal later on, and you get the least sentence of all the other people in the conspiracy. So apparently today, Joe Biden was asked by a reporter from my newspaper, the Boston Herald, "Why are you leaving early?" "I'm not leaving early. Why are you so negative?" We're going to try to get some sound or get the reporter on later. But Joe apparently, he has some kind of, despite not having as much upstairs as he used to.
We have that sound.
Oh, we have the sound. Here's the sound. Here's the sound.
Joe, why'd you decide to leave early?
I'm not leaving early.
Why'd you skip the party tonight?
I'm going down to South Carolina, and then I'm going to be talking to everybody up there in the field. And why are you so negative?
Why are you so negative? I'm not leaving early. That party is going to go on without me. It's a victory party. It's at the Radisson. I'm going to Bill Weld and Deval Patrick and Michael Bennett, the senator from Colorado. They're going to share the room with me. We're all going to have a victory party together. All of us losers.
And Howie, I guess one of the voters up there told Hillary Chabot from the Herald, she said she switched her vote from Biden to Warren because he just seems like he's lost it. And then after that interaction, she was quoted as saying, "What a baby." Can't even ask him a flat out question. Why are you so negative? Why are you guys making fun of me?
I'm going to visit my friend Julio Castro and that woman from Alaska. And then we're gonna go out to the target range with one of those guns that has 50 clips in it. Denny, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Denny.
Yeah, hi, Howie. I was hoping that after the impeachment trial, the Senate would spring into action with holding hearings trying to get to the bottom of who was behind the coup and who did what, or the attempted coup.
Well,
so far, Lindsey Graham has at least said he's going to hold hearings.
I know. We had him on. We had him on about an hour ago, Denny, on the radio portion of the show, and he said the same thing, that he's going to start hearings in 2 weeks. And I was trying to say, well, what are you going to do if they, say that this is the subject of a court case? Now it's going to be a civil case, like Strzok is, suing the government to get his job back. What are you going to do then? Or what are you going to do if Comey gets another burst of amnesia and doesn't remember something 240 times? And he didn't really give me a satisfactory answer, Denny. He talks a good game, but I'm not really confident that he's going to get it done. Are you?
I'm not. Seeing's believing, and I'm really nervous that none of the other committee chairmen have made any commitments to hold hearings. I guess several different committees have different responsibilities, so I'm really nervous about that.
Yeah, and I mentioned too, this woman Jessie Liu, the former U.S. attorney for Washington, she's getting a new job in the Treasury Department, and she was going to get the number 3 job in justice, but they decided that wasn't going to work because she's been basically, I hate to say it, brooming these cases. And I hope somebody at her hearing on Thursday in front of the banking committee, because they have oversight over Treasury, I hope somebody's going to ask her about some of these cases that she's broomed, although I'm sure, once again, she's going to pull the same swerve that Comey and Strzok and the rest of them have pulled. But, at least try to hold their feet to the fire here, Denny. I'm with you. Thanks for the call. Dan, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Dan.
Hey, Howie. Thanks for taking my call. I just wanted to thank you and validate the point that you had made earlier in your show about how President Trump had lost New Hampshire because of
the students voting. Yeah. I think there were a lot of students voting again today, I'm told. It's kind of, we don't really care that much today, but they can't be allowed to vote in November if they're voting somewhere else. Thanks, Dan.
We at Matthews Brothers would like to send a wicked huge thank you to our dealers, their customers, and their customers' customers for supporting us as we set yet another sales record in our relentless march towards global domination. Over the past 10 years, while the U.S. window market has grown 3 to 4% annually, Matthews Brothers has consistently surpassed the industry rate, including an amazing 7-fold increase in 2019. There are a lot of reasons for this growth, but to us it comes down to just one word: trust. Trust and confidence. 2 words: trust, confidence, and loyalty. Okay, 3 words: trust, that comes from 166 years of providing consistently superior customer service. Confidence that our builder customers have in recommending and using our products in their projects, and the loyalty from our dealers who service builders and contractors from the Atlantic Ocean to the New York border, or as we call it, the Western Frontier. You can learn more about our authentic, wicked awesome Maine-made products, but only at Better Lumber Yards and Window Professionals, or on the web at MatthewsBrothers.com. Matthews Brothers with 1 T, America's oldest window manufacturer.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Would you say you're more like your mom or your dad?
No, I don't think I ended up being like either of them now that I think about it. My mother worked hard, but she never really learned how to make a lot of money. And my father didn't work so hard, but he had a good personality. He was good with people. He was better than me with people. That's why I'm saying I'm not like either one of them, I don't think.
Did you have any siblings?
Yes, I have a brother, a younger brother.
What was your favorite subject in school?
Well, all kinds of history. I loved all kinds of history.
If you could have 3 houses besides the ones you already have, anywhere in the world, where would they be?
I wouldn't mind having another house in Palm Beach on Clark Avenue. Maybe a place in southern Maine. I don't need a third place.
Didn't you already have a house in Maine?
I did. It was on an island. It was not a good fit for the mailroom manager.
I've heard the house was haunted. Is that true?
Yes. And, my wife didn't really care that much for my relatives.
Biden might be the front runner for the Democrats, but that isn't stopping him from serving up a whole lot of gaffes. Take a listen.
I believe that the president is literally an existential threat to America for 3 reasons. One, he is a genuine threat to our...
I had permission to hug Lonnie.
He says, let's make America great again. Let's make America America again.
I think I'm either low IQ or slow, or I don't know what I am. Slow Joe Biden.
Thanks for the Mary, and I'm going to be here a lot.
I want the press to know she pulled me close. I just want you to know, okay?
President Trump inherited an economy from Obama Biden.
By the way, he gave me permission to touch him. They can't even figure out how to deal with the fact that they have this great division between the China Sea and the mountains in the West.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally meant rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
You are known as a cheap bastard. Which one of your daughters is the cheapest and why?
Charlotte is the cheapest, and I say that because she's always using my credit card. We keep changing the credit cards over and over again, and she keeps busting in and using them again. Most recently, just this week, she spent $75 at AT&T.
What's the cheapest thing you do now to save money?
The cheapest thing I do currently to save money, I guess, is I take all the bottles and cans back to the market basket every weekend. I always like to save that money. I can't stand to throw those bottles and cans away and have the unclaimed returns go to the state of Massachusetts for illegal aliens.
Do you recycle?
Yes, I do recycle. When I got on the town meeting, I saw that the town dump was probably the only department in the town that was running in the black, and it's because of all the recycling that was going on. So I try to keep my taxes down that way.
He's New England's talk radio king. He's Howie Carr.
The only French term I like is sans culotte, without trousers. I used to describe Ted Kennedy as sans culotte because after the O'Bar incident, when he was wandering around down on the beach, with his 20th Scotch tumbler of the day in his hand, stumbling around with he was just there, as the Michel Casson Patches Date said, he was just there without trousers, or as we say in Paris, sans culotte.
We've seen nothing that we can work that I can work with President Bush on, and I'm disappointed because I thought that there might be some interest because of what he said in the campaign.
President Bush, this is your brain. This is your brain on Botox. Okay? That's the lesson of that one.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
So now you've broken your elbow. Have you ever broken any other bones?
When I was 8 years old, I broke my leg. I was playing touch football in Portland, and a big kid, a 15-year-old, tackled me. When I was in my 30s, I was going down the stairs, and one of the kids' toys was on the stairs, and I tripped on it and broke my foot. I lost a tooth playing touch football when I was just out of Deerfield. In the jaw, my tooth went up, and I still have a bridge, a crown from that mishap. I have a replacement hip, and now I have a bunch of pins in my left elbow.
When do you plan to retire?
I don't plan on retiring. As an old football coach once said, once you retire, there's only one big moment left. You know what that is. I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. Dr. Houghton, tell us about the state-of-the-art procedures that can help many people look 10 to 15 years younger.
As we age, we do lose these proper proportions to our faces. And so if you're deficient in your chin or mid-face, we can create the proper proportions and make you look great. Sometimes we use orthodontics to change the look of the face. Sometimes we just use the teeth themselves, and it creates the right support for a beautiful face. They're all non-surgical procedures.
There's some pretty complex cases that you deal with. Give me an example of a tough case.
Well, some cases, people just are missing a lot of teeth. I get a lot of people that come in and think that I cannot solve their problems because they're too great, but I really can. We've been doing this for over 30 years that we haven't seen.
So even if you're missing a few teeth or your teeth are discolored, you're very embarrassed, there's no reason not to come in for a consultation, right?
Absolutely. New techniques, new technology, things are available to us that we never had before, and we can handle just about everything.
Where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Can you remember any time in your life when you were starstruck?
One time I saw Peter Vesey, the NBA columnist for the New York Post. He was in the Herald sports department. I really liked his column, so I went up and introduced myself to him. Then one time there was Cousin Brucey from WABC, and I used to listen to him driving back and forth between Chapel Hill and Deerfield when I was in college. Everybody on the East Coast listened to him. I couldn't believe that I was in the presence of Cousin Brucey.
Do you ever play bridge anymore?
No, I haven't played bridge in a very long time. Nobody I know plays bridge. I think my bridge days are behind me.
Do you think you'd...
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
The Biden campaign was maybe hoping for one of those classic New Hampshire primary surprises. Well, the surprise is for us. I'm heading to South Carolina, as is the former vice president, canceling a plan to celebrate primary night with supporters here in New Hampshire.
Joe Biden is almost on fumes, really. Well, this is a real problem for their campaign. They're beginning to have that feeling of a loser.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
Are you concerned about the message that you're sending to New Hampshire by going to South Carolina?
Not at all. Not at all. We got to win this state in the general election. And I think we're going to be able to do that.
I voted for Amy Klobuchar. I actually went in and eeny, meeny, miny, moed it.
You're kidding.
No, between
literally
two candidates.
in the booth.
In the booth.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
I think we disproportionately stop whites too much and minorities too little.
Put those cops where the crime is, which means in minority neighborhoods. That's where all the crime is. Throw them against the wall.
So there are things we can and should do right away. They can deal with black money, dark money. I'm always happy to take black money contributions in my campaign.
Unchained and unstoppable.
We have more in this arena and outside of this arena than all of the other candidates, meaning the Democrats, put together and multiplied times 5.
We have a bigger crowd here by far just for Donald Trump than we had on Saturday for all of the Democrats.
By the way, does anybody know who won Iowa? Flip a coin. They're going to run your health care. Unbelievable. Nobody knows who won. I think they're trying to take it away from Bernie again. They're doing it to you again, Bernie. They're doing it to you again.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
Breaking news from Chicago. Jussie Smollett has been indicted by Special Prosecutor Dan Webb. You know what that's all about. I don't know what the story I've got in front of me. It's just the hot news, breaking news.
He's a good boy, a very good boy.
We don't know what he's been charged with exactly, but we'll find out as time goes on. We just spoke to the Herald reporter, Boston Herald reporter, who did who gave us the audio that we just played of Joe Biden saying, "Why are you so negative? I'm not leaving New Hampshire. I'm just going to South Carolina." And she texted Grace and said, "I'll call in at 6:20 from the Biden victory party in Nashua. I hope it's not too loud." I don't think that's going to be a problem. Taylor, have you come up with the location of the Deval Patrick and William Weld victory parties tonight?
There's actually a picture on Twitter of the two of them together. So just pick any street corner in Manchester and...
You're kidding. That's got to be Photoshopped, right?
No, they're talking with each other.
They're talking. How is it possible that the two most also-rans of also-rans, who happen to be former governors of Massachusetts, happen to bump into each other? Of all the gen joints in all the world, as Rick in Casablanca said. All right. Time now for the chump line.
What does it matter where Joe Biden is? So we can all know where Joe Biden is, but he can't know where he is?
That's very cruel. That's ageism is what that is.
Biden's a genius. He's way ahead of everybody. He's not running for this election. He's running for 2024.
We got to compete around the country. I've already lost in New Hampshire. Now it's time to go down to South Carolina and lose there for a while. And then I'm going to go out to Nevada and I'm going to lose the caucuses out there. The Chump Line is brought to you by Matthews Brothers, America's oldest window manufacturer. This week, remembering a simpler time in America when counting votes was basic arithmetic. Hollywood celebrities knew their job was to play make-believe, and politicians didn't yell at the voters. Fear not, we still make wicked awesome windows.
Seth Moulton here. I'd just like to apologize since the overwhelming support for my write-in campaign will probably crash the New Hampshire system the same way it did in Iowa. Go Seth! Feel the bolt!
Are those write-in votes that they're not going to be counting them tonight? They're going to be weighing them for, but not only Seth Moulton, but also for President Eric Swalwell, as Corey Lewandowski calls him.
Howie, Joe Biden calling. Come on, man. Whether they live in Keene, Concord, or Dubuque, I want you to tell the dog-faced pony soldiers of Vermont to vote for Biden tomorrow. I mean it.
Surely you meant to say the lying dog-faced pony soldiers to vote for you tomorrow. Maybe Joe thinks the actual voting in the Granite State will take place tomorrow. It'll be one of those special Wednesday elections.
Yeah, I'll be back here for the actual election. Sure. I'm serious, not a joke.
808 says Biden said he was headed for South Carolina, so look for him in Boise. Quite possible. He could be anywhere. That's why we've put up the silver alert. Joe, if you come back, we've got 2 tapioca puddings for you tonight. 2.
You know what?
We're not going to give you a rice pudding. I know you were very disappointed we had to give you a rice pudding last night, but it's tapioca. We went back to the Publix and got the tapioca today.
Is it safe to say Joe is going to Carolina in his mind.
Yes, he is. Like Jay, that was North Carolina, but to Joe, what does it really matter? North Carolina, South Dakota, North Dakota, New Hampshire, Vermont, Iowa, Ohio. It's all kind of running together, isn't it?
Would you like fries with that? Yes, I would, Lieutenant Colonel Venman.
Yeah, would that it were. Somebody was saying yesterday it's easier to get a divorce in Washington, D.C. than it is to fire somebody in the federal government. I think that's really true.
Help us bring Joe Biden home. If you see him, please go to 3003 Joe 30.
I'm going to lose? That's a bunch of malarkey.
Ollie, real well, colleague. I want you to know that regardless of what happens in New Hampshire, I'm in this race for the long haul. I'll still be in it for Super Tuesday and Thirsty Thursday.
Play cut 29, in case people haven't heard it. This was on Fox this morning with Bill Weld.
We've got the polar ice cap that's going to melt with devastating consequences if we don't get carbon out of the atmosphere.
And the ice cubes in my drink are going to melt. And that's going to have even more devastating consequences for this buzz that I'm working on. I carried a foreign load into this studio in Bedford, New Hampshire, and I plan to be carrying one all day long. And we can't have the ice cubes melting. He never worried about ice cubes melting when he was running for governor in 1990. He had a bottle of Jack under the seat in his vehicle, and he drank it neat, as they say.
I think we ought to get John Walsh from America's Most Wanted. He was good at finding criminals. He could locate Biden.
Why don't we just say that there's an $83,000 a month job open for his crack-addled son, Hunter? It's like blowing a dog whistle. He'll come running if we just mention that there's this job available. Burisma is hiring, Mr. Vice President.
Biden can't even fill the smallest of places. All of his rallies have wide open spaces, and he's certainly not improving his lot by calling his supporters lying dog faces.
Let's get this straight. It's not lying dog faces. It's not dog face pony soldiers. It's lying dog face pony soldiers. Didn't anybody see that movie? No, nobody saw that movie because there wasn't a movie. He mashed it all up. He mashed 2 or 3 movies up together in his, dare I say it, mind, and that's what came out.
Well, I know there's definitely one thing that Lindsey Graham is going to do. Absolutely nothing.
What can I say? I'm glad he was on the show, but I'm not confident, shall we say.
Is there anyone left that doesn't understand Joe Biden was Obama's life insurance policy?
I keep going back to what all the mainstream media said when he was picked as the running mate in 2008. He adds gravitas to the ticket. Like he was some kind of heavyweight. He was a statesman because he'd been in the Senate at that point for 36 years. I mean, I didn't buy it then, and I'm buying it even less now.
That was your last chump line message. Thank you for calling Howie Carr, you chump.
Someone wants to know, is Whitey's old apartment in Santa Monica still available for Joe and Hunter? Well, Hunter doesn't need any place in L.A. He's got the place in Beverly Hills, doesn't he? It's a mere $12,000 a month rent. That's nothing if you're making $83,000 for a no-show job with Burisma. Oh, I guess that job is over. Do we know where his no-show job is now that Burisma has dried up? All right, that's it for the Chump Line today. The Chump Line is the recorded voicemail message service of the Howie Carr Show. You can call and leave a message at any hour of the day or night, including weekends. The Chump Line number, if you'd like to leave such a message, 844-500-4242. Press 2 for the Chump Line. Leave your message. We may or may not play it at this time each weekday. The Chump Line is brought to you by Matthews Brothers, America's oldest window manufacturer. This week, remembering a simpler time in America when counting votes was basic arithmetic. Hollywood celebrities knew their job was to play make-believe, and politicians didn't yell at the voters or ask them why they were being so negative, like Joe Biden did today to our Herald reporter.
And apparently he yelled at somebody else today. Don't stick that microphone in my face. I'll have to find that one during the break.
You know, Taylor, they played a greatest hits compilation. Peter Ducey was with his father on Fox and Friends, so they played the whole greatest hits of him confronting Biden here, there, and everywhere. But he said, you know, Biden always comes up and says, "Yeah, what do you got for me today?" You know why? You know why, Peter? Because he doesn't remember what you did to him yesterday. He probably has no clue who you are, even though he's seen you, 30 days in a row out on the campaign trail. Fear not. We, Matthews Brothers, still make awesome windows.
Help us bring Joe Biden home. If you see him, please go to 3003 Joe 30.
The Valentine's displays are out in full force, and while there are a lot of options to choose from, I can tell you from experience that nothing compares to the fresh and beautiful rose bouquets from 1-800-Flowers.com. Valentine's is 3 days away, and you need a rose bouquet that's guaranteed to impress. That's why I only order from the official florist of Valentine's, 1-800-Flowers. Today only, you can get 18 red roses for $29.99 or upgrade to the 24-stem colorful rose medley plus a vase for only $5 more. While I'm watching the New Hampshire returns tonight, I'm going to be ordering this special for the mailroom manager. She tells me she doesn't want roses, just like your wife or girlfriend or mother even, or tells you she doesn't want roses either. But let me tell you something. If Friday rolls around and there aren't roses arriving, preferably at her place of work, she's going to be angry. She'll say, "Why didn't you send me roses?" And it doesn't matter if she told you she didn't want roses. She wants them. Believe me, you know I'm right. It happened to you last year, didn't it? Just like it happened to me. It's not going to happen this year. 1-800-Flowers is your solution. Roses from 1-800-Flowers are picked at their peak and shipped overnight to ensure freshness. 18 red roses for $29.99 or an upgrade to the 24-stem colorful rose medley plus a vase for only $5 more. It's one of the best Valentine's offers you'll find, but it expires today, and it's only while supplies last. Pick your delivery date and let 1-800-Flowers do the rest. When it comes to Valentine's, don't settle for anything less than My Rose Authority, 1-800-Flowers.com. To order 18 red roses for $29.99 or upgrade to the 24-stem colorful rose medley plus a vase for only $5 more. That's your winning entry right there. Go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click the radio icon, and enter code Howie. That's 1-800-Flowers.com, code Howie. Hurry, offer expires today. I'm Howie Carr.
Howie Carr. You can trust him. He's not like the others.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you today in part by the Conversations with Grace podcast. Hear Grace's compelling conversation with former Maine Governor Paul LePage. Never before heard stories and political news too. All at HowieCarrShow.com.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
We went to the White House for the Christmas party. In your opinion, what was the highlight?
The highlight of my trip to the White House with Grace, there were two. Number one, when we walked into Trump International Hotel, which she'd been dreaming of going to, and her eyes were wide. And then when the president actually came down the stairs, her eyes were even wider. She was so in awe of being there. I really felt like King Farouk, I felt like I was giving someone a really great gift. that they couldn't get otherwise.
You've had some really good interviews over the years. Which one was your favorite?
I can't really say what the best interview I ever had, but one that just occurred to me was Jesse Helms, the senator from North Carolina. I interviewed him one time, and he went to high school with my mother in Monroe, North Carolina.
Hey, Howie?
And the first
Yes.
words out of his mouth were,
Going to do hate
"Howard,
mail now, okay?
I know
Okay,
your
that's fine.
mother
That's good.
Before you knew
I'll
your
do the
mother."
I'll
John,
do the
what happened to
poll
Perfect
question. And then
Smiles
we'll
when
do
you
it.
went?
We
The
got
initial
time for the poll
consultation was
question
easy.
too.
In the past, they just hand me a clipboard to fill out the forms, but that's not how I worked at Perfect Smiles. What was nice was it was a true consultation. They
Make
asked
it a
me my
quick poll
medical
question.
history
Okay.
or what I wanted to get out of the treatment plan. For me, I lived with TMJ. I'd literally have to crack my jaw throughout the day to relieve the pressure. I'd get headaches throughout the day. I'd be in pain. When I was at Perfect Smiles, they asked me what I wanted to get out of the treatment. As a joke, I just said, geez, I'd love you to be able to fix my TMJ. And I was surprised because Dr. Houghton specializes in working with patients like me that have TMJ.
What were the results of visiting Dr. Houghton at Perfect Smiles?
Not only did I walk out of that office with a perfect smile, but he fixed my TMJ. It was a life-changing event. People tell me now that my smile is amazing. People would say, geez, John, your teeth look so great. I never realized my teeth looked so bad before. Now I take a look at the before and after pictures and I'm amazed.
Go to Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire, or visit their website, perfectsmiles.com.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Who do you consider the biggest rhino in the Republican Party?
Probably is Paul Ryan. I wish a Republican were still the speaker, but Paul Ryan was scarcely a Republican. And there was a reason he was Mitt Romney's running mate, because we had a rhino ticket in 2012.
Where did the expression, how many more, Mr. Speaker? How many more, come from?
That comes from the State House. There used to be a state rep who sometimes would talk about atrocities that were happening in crime. And he would get up there and he would say, how many more, Mr. Speaker? How many more? And I just picked it up and it became a trademark.
Where's your favorite place to go out to eat in Palm Beach?
My favorite place to go in Palm Beach is probably the Honor Bar, which used to be O-Bar, and you can get a really great hamburger there, and they have a great coffee machine that brews each cup of coffee individually.
This is Alex from East Bridgewater, Mass.
This is Ann in Saco, Maine.
This is John Succo from Hampton, Mass. And this is the Howie Carr Show.
In my mind, I'm gone to Carolina.
James Taylor. He was from Chapel Hill. His father was a professor at the medical school. I guess that's where he learned to shoot up. Valentine's Day is, I know he's kicked the habit long since. Valentine's Day is 3 days away, and 1-800-Flowers has an amazing offer. Today only, you can get 18 red roses for $29.99 or upgrade to the 24-stem colorful rose medley plus a vase for only $5 more. To order, go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click on the radio icon, and enter code Howie. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Will Joe Biden finish in 5th place tonight?
I think so, yes.
85% say yes.
All right. And now it's time for Hate Mail Monday on Tuesday.
Let the hate flow through you.
Yes, Howie. So I'm going to run through these pretty quick. I want to start off strong with someone who called in and really thinks our show is, you know what? I'm going to let him describe it.
Okay, I'm calling you because your show is about the stupidest show on TV.
Thank you.
It's the stupidest Trump and the stupidest you people are. Why do they even have a show like that on?
Well,
of all the stupid shows on TV, Grace, ours is the stupidest.
As always, Hate Mail Monday is brought to you by Piantadosi Baking Company, celebrating over 100 years of baking excellence. It's truly excellence since 1916. So check out Piantadosi. I'm so grateful they sponsor this segment. I really like this one, Howie. So you were on Tucker and Sean Hannity ended your segment by saying you did a really great job. And this guy tweets back, so the Howie Carr interview was brilliant. Really, Sean Hannity? Really? Did you even listen to it? Kind of a low bar, don't you think? Personally, I find it absurd that Tucker Carlson is forced to have comedians on his show. More thinkers, less tools. # Hannity. I didn't know you were a comedian, Howie.
Some people are offended by being called a comedian. I take it as a high compliment, actually.
Well, you're called a comedian. I am called something else. Let's play the next one, Taylor.
Howie, I'm getting a little worn out of your little parakeet grace there.
Parakeet? You're more like a canary.
Yeah, I think so too. So this person says, Howie, this is on Twitter, Howie is the king of radical right-wing talk radio.
Thank you.
Look at Howie Carr. He's the king of the paranoid, low IQ, mouth-breathing shut-ins.
Where's my crown?
They're talking about you guys out there. Howie, this is what we call a backhanded compliment. Someone retweeted your Pierre Delecto column and said, Mitt will never recover from this. And then a guy goes, I left Boston 10 years ago. Howie Carr is still a thing. Another guy tweets back and says, Howie Carr is a buffoon, but he roasted Mitt pretty good here, I have to admit.
Thank you. As your ancestor used to say, Grace, every knock a boost. That's what we got today. A lot of boosts. We'll be right back with the governor of New Hampshire, Chris Sununu. I'm Howie Carr.
Are you looking for a pre-owned car? Well, before you go to the dealership where you'll be pounced on by pushy salespeople, give the Car Guys a try. I'm Bill Papageorge, and my job is to make finding the perfect used car as easy as possible. That means I do all of the tough legwork for you. Once I figure out what you want out of a car, I go find it. I've been in this business for a long time, and I know what to look out for. I won't bring you a car unless I know it will meet or exceed your expectations. So give me a call at 800-300-4600. That is 800-300-4600.
Hey, business owners and marketing professionals, would you like to advertise on the Howie Carr Radio Network? Howie's show reaches all across New England. And you know who's listening? Your next customer, client, or business lead. If you're interested in advertising on the Howie Carr Show, call 800-227-7300. That's 800-227-7300. You're listening to Howie, and so is your next customer. Call 800-227-7300 right now.
Joe Biden might be running for president in 2020, so we should play some of his greatest hits.
Barack and I finally reduced the disparity in sentencing, which we've been fighting to eliminate, in crack cocaine versus powder cocaine. Correct. It was a big mistake when it was made. We thought we were told by the experts that crack, you never go back.
You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent.
If you want to protect yourself, get a double-barrel shotgun. If there's ever a problem, just walk out on the balcony, put that double-barrel shotgun, and fire 2 blasts. They're going to put you all back in chains.
Give me a break. That's a bunch of malarkey.
The 3-letter word. Jobs. J-O-B-S. Jobs.
One man stands ready to deliver change we desperately need. A man I'm proud to call my friend. A man who will be the next president of the United States, Barack America.
I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. You get a lot of patients, I'm sure, who are apprehensive about veneers. What are some of the questions and fears you get when you're dealing with new patients?
Some people think they could look too fake, but true cosmetic dentistry is incredibly detail-oriented. So we put a lot of time and effort into individualizing how the smile looks, and we really make them look natural, but very, very pleasant.
People are concerned. They wonder, I got my teeth. Do I really want to put caps on?
Exactly. Yeah, they think they'll have that Hollywood look or fake look, but the technology that we have available and the artistry that we can create now really makes things so natural that most people, in fact, most dentists are just surprised that we can create what we can create nowadays. Everyone is different. Everyone has different facial dimensions, different bone structure, and we do everything we can to individualize treatment because there is no one perfect smile. It is your perfect smile.
Dr. Houghton, where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE, 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
I've seen a lot of Anchor cupcakes in my day. Here are some of the latest network nitwits.
And he says, if I'm elected president, I will push for a constitutional amendment to impose term limits on all members of Congress. Correct me, there already are term limits, so what does he mean?
And what are we hearing in the background? Is that shelling?
No, Katie, you're actually hearing that from here in Jerusalem, and it's actually fireworks going off right behind me.
We're in our tribes, we're in our corners most of our lives. I think we just heard some gunshots. Should we listen to that for a second? Control room? Not gunshots? Okay.
Ivanka is not the second lady. She actually, I don't think she deserves this position. She's actually a senior advisor to the president. So the idea that he would demean her specifically in that way, he shouldn't talk about the first lady that way. We aren't all here to make salads for men. It's disgusting.
I mean, I'm presuming he was talking about Karen Pence when he said second lady.
Oh, God, I'm sorry.
Not Montana. I'm talking about never mind.
Yeah, no, Chester, I mean, that's Republicans could add to
I was getting Montana and North Dakota confused because, I don't know, I just was.
We all love President Trump's off-the-cuff comments, but he's never in rarer form than when he's speaking at a rally. Take a listen.
I hit Pocahontas way too early. I thought she was gone. She's emerged from the ashes, and now it looks like she could beat Sleepy Joe. He's fallen asleep. He has no idea what the hell he's doing or saying.
I don't know. I'm not a vain person. But I look better under an incandescent light than these crazy lights that are beaming down on me. That guy's got a serious weight problem. Go home, start exercising. Got a bigger problem than I do. Now he goes home and his mom says, "What the hell have you just done?" How do you top that? I'm just ready, the big, beautiful crescendo, and his character's going back home. One person just going home to mommy a little bit sooner. These are phony people, but that's okay. You know, when you think of it, I'm president and they're not.
You really have to elect me. Whether you like me or not, it makes no difference, because our country will go to hell if any of these people get in.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242. It is primary election day, presidential primary election day in New Hampshire. It's a big day in the Granite State, and we're fortunate to be joined.
And by the way, you have a great governor, Chris Sununu. He's on top of it. He's on top of it. And his father's a great guy. His father didn't like me too much a few years ago. Once I won, I'm telling you, he was so good. He was as good. He fought like hell for us, all of us. It's a great family, and Chris is doing a fantastic job.
And, you know, on election eve 2016, Chris Sununu wasn't in the arena, the SNHU arena, but his dad was. John was there. And the next day, Chris
a chance to shine and show the country how to do it and be that lips test that the country expects.
Did you say it's going to be a record turnout?
Yeah, without doubt. It looks like the Secretary of State predicted, and I personally agree with him, that for a year with an incumbent president, you'll still have more people voting than ever before in a primary. So, you know, that's 50, 60%, something like that. I mean, look, the president himself could get over 100,000 votes, and he's not even running against anybody. That'd be more than any of the Democrats.
Yeah, that's what I was going to. That's what I was going to ask you. People have been saying that they're getting their 4 o'clock results, and there are a lot of Republican ballots being cast today, which that's pretty outstanding, isn't it?
That's amazing. That's amazing. I mean, none of the Republicans really have to come out to the polls, but they are, because they're saying what the results that this president has delivered for New Hampshire, for our communities, for individuals, it's working. It is working. We might not always like his rhetoric or how he says it or how he tweets. I think all of us have taken issue at one time or another with that. But when you have an elected official, especially the president of the United States, to say he's getting it done, he's committing on a lot of his promises. He's using the economy not to his advantage, but for our advantage as individuals and as families. It's working up here, and so people are coming out in droves.
Did you talk to the president last night in Manchester?
Oh yeah. Yeah, so I had dinner with them on Sunday night, and then
when you were down, because they had that meeting, you had the governor's meeting in Washington yesterday.
The NGA meeting, yeah, they do a big dinner with all the governors. Ron DeSantis in Florida, myself sat with the president at the head table, and then I flew up with the vice president on Monday, did a bus tour with the vice president and Ivanka, and they got the endorsement from the Police Benevolent Association, the Cops for Trump guys. They endorsed, and then I went and met the president when his plane landed around 6 o'clock that night. Then he went over to the rally. I went over and did a lot of media with CNN and Fox and whatnot. And then it's just continued all day today. It's been an absolute.
And let me guess, he bent your ear about same-day registration.
Not about same-day registration. So remember, we don't mind same-day registration. It's just about having to be a resident right? You have to be a resident in Massachusetts, in Maine, in Vermont. We've changed our law. We've closed our loophole. So you have to be a resident here too, just like everywhere else. That alone, it fundamentally changes the dynamic and for the good, in that it is fair, right? Everyone plays by the same rules now, and in doing that, it takes care of a lot of the nonsense that you saw over the past few years. Not that things were happening illegally, but we had a loophole in the law that allowed people to be here that weren't real residents to cast a vote and make it be counted.
Is this really going to close the loophole and stop the students in Durham and in Hanover and Plymouth and Keene? Is it really going to stop the out-of-state students?
Well, it's not about. Yeah. It's not about stopping students. It's about saying, if you want to vote and you're a student, great, become a resident here and you can vote like everybody else. That's wonderful. And just like I could do it in Massachusetts or anywhere else, but you have to be a resident. You have to play by those rules. And it's the same rules everywhere. So that's what we're doing. We're just making our rules the same as all these other states. And fundamentally, that should, that again, just brings us on par with everybody else.
You know, I always am happy when I read the story that 2 more people, usually they're from Massachusetts, I hate to say it, are prosecuted for voting twice. And they get, 90 days suspended sentence or something. I mean, there were a lot more than 10 people voted illegally, why haven't there been more prosecutions, Governor?
Well, the prosecutions, again, remember, the law allowed for that flexibility for people just to be domiciled. Now, if you voted in 2 places, we are going to prosecute, and we've started down that process. So you have to prove they voted in one place. You have to prove they voted in the other. The Attorney General's office can actually do that now. They have a department that actually handles those issues. So it's not that we're going slow or anything. If people voted in 2 places, we're going after them.
I hope you'll make that clear in the fall, especially in the college towns, that they could be prosecuted if they vote improperly, illegally.
The word is out. We've already gone through a whole series of them, and again, we'll see what happens today. And again, they like to say, "Oh, there's confusion here." There's no confusion. They like to claim that the rules aren't clear. No, the rules are very simple. If you vote, you got to be a resident. Period. End of story.
Don't you have pending court cases on this, though? The people there, the ACLU types are suing to overturn the tightening of the registration laws.
They do. They do have something pending with a federal judge, and he'll make his final decision soon. But it would take a lot to overturn what is just already being done in states all across the country. So it's just they're just swinging at anything they can to make a stir about something. But they know fundamentally this is what is fair. It's not. It doesn't lean Democrat. It doesn't lean Republican. It just makes it fair where everyone plays by the same rule. It isn't, well, domiciled has one set of rules, resident has another set. No. You're domiciled, you're resident, it's all the same thing.
Now, what about the turnout today? We keep getting we get mixed reports. Some places are saying, or some of the texters are saying it's a low turnout or a mediocre turnout. Then we heard somebody say there's a big turnout in Durham again, with the site of the University of New Hampshire. Are you getting any reports about where the turnout's heavy and where it's not?
I mean, overall, the turnout seems to be on par with what the Secretary of State had predicted. And so, we're kind of monitoring that. And we're hitting this 5-6 o'clock hour where a lot of people are going to come home and vote. So, given that, 10 to 20% of the people will vote as they come home from work. You'll get higher voter turnout earlier in the day in places like Durham or Hanover because there's a lot of students there. They don't have the work hours that other folks do. So it varies, but at the end of the night, it kind of all evens out. You typically have similar vote totals, whether you're in Manchester, Durham, or a rural area, similar vote turnout totals. And so I think the Secretary of State, he's for 40 years now, he's been very, very accurate with predictions. And my sense is he'll hit this one right on the nose.
So it's not disproportionate numbers in the college towns. It's just that they tend to vote earlier than Manchester, say.
Yeah, look, maybe it would work that way because you have more of a Democrat primary. I could see in a college town that might be the case, but that would be kind of the rare exceptions there, just in those college towns. That's the only reason I could see that varying at all.
Okay, I want to get your predictions because I have somebody standing by in the parking lot of one of those betting parlors so I want your predictions. I'm going to put some money on it. Who's good? Can you vote? Can you vote on the primary in New Hampshire?
wait. Well, you mean bet on the primary?
Bet. Excuse me. Bet. Excuse me.
That would we talked. That would have been awesome, but no, they did not allow us to do that. That broke a variety of different rules and laws.
Oh, that's too bad.
So, yeah.
But anyway,
sorry.
I still
I'll
want
put
your
the money down.
prediction. I still want your prediction because I know a guy on a bar stool in Teal Square in Somerville. I can get it. I can get some money down with.
Look, Bernie's going to win here. I think he's not going to win by nearly as much as he should. Remember, Bernie Sanders had 150,000 votes in the last election. Now, in 2016, yes, he was only running against one other candidate. He'll only get 75 or 80,000 this time around, which means 75 or 80,000 people that voted for him before have changed their mind. They're going with someone else. Yes, there are more options, but they are actively leaving their previously chosen candidate. That's very, very telling. And while Bernie may win here, he's got to figure out how he gets that back, because otherwise he is going to enter into a brokered convention if he were to have a lot of delegates. And I think Biden ultimately stays in this race, stays in through South Carolina, wins a bunch of delegates. Bloomberg will have some, Pete will have some, Klobuchar. So they'll all go in a very ugly brokered convention down the road. But here in New Hampshire tonight is going to be Bernie Sanders. I think Pete will be behind him. Klobuchar will come in third, surprise everybody. Warren will not do very well. She is just losing gas.
Well, I guess this is the big thing. This is the big thing. Who's going to finish fourth? Is it going to be, according to the governor of New Hampshire? Warren's going to finish fourth.
Biden's toast. Yeah, Biden is going to hit fifth, I think. He left the state this afternoon. He didn't even stay for his party. He just knows it's going to be that bad. He left and headed right to
as he told our Herald reporter, you know, when she said basically the same thing. Why are you being so negative? So why are you being so negative, Governor?
Negative. Look, I'm in the state with the strongest economy, the most opportunity. I'm loving life. I'm doing nothing but promoting all the opportunity the state has. And I'm in New Hampshire on a day when we're going to show the rest of the country how it is done, how you get voter turnout very high, how you get voter participation. It isn't through money. It isn't through name ID. It's through meeting people, person to person, voter to voter, getting them excited about the opportunities. And everybody comes out.
Everybody every 4 years, or a lot of people say, you know, this is enough with this Iowa and New Hampshire thing. And it seems like the clamor is greater this year because of the fiasco in Iowa. What are you going to do to make sure that you don't get stripped of this first in the primary designation every 4 years?
Yeah. So look, as we started with, Iowa is such a different process. It's a caucus. It's politically driven. It was a mess this year. There's no real accountability there. It's just a mess. And that has to be on its own. To any other state who wants to be the first in the nation primary, show me your voter turnout the way we have it. Show me the fact that you can win without spending a lot of money. Show me the fact that you can win without having a lot of name ID. Show me the fact that you are truly a purple state where Republicans and Democrats really can flip at any moment. And that's a very important thing because it shows that great diversity of our voting electorate. No other state has that. Show me any of those metrics, and then you add them all together. Nobody can match us. This is a very earned 100-year tradition, but 100-year responsibility. We take it really seriously. And show me a state that doesn't have the shenanigans that other states have. We don't have that in our voting process. We have great integrity in our system, and that is exactly why New Hampshire needs to be first, because nobody can do it like we can.
How about those Massachusetts buses, though, that the president was talking about again last night?
Dear Lord, the buses. Look, I don't want to get into all that. I don't. But we're doing too well. We're doing too well today. We're just looking forward. I'm a very forward thinking. I'm looking forward. Again, we've gotten our laws where all the other states are. You got to be a resident of Massachusetts. You got to be a resident of New Hampshire or Vermont or any other state.
Do they have
exactly where we need it?
Do they have to provide a voter ID? That's what people are asking. Do you have to come up with an ID to vote now in New Hampshire or not?
Yes. Yeah. You have to prove who you are. Sure.
You have to come up with a driver's license or something anyway.
It's some type of ID. Yes.
Okay. Hey, Governor Sununu, you're doing a great job, and
thank you, buddy.
I wish I could bet. I wish though I could bet on the race tonight. You know, and so I know I speak for a lot of other people when I say that.
I've lost all four of my first sports betting endeavors, so I'm glad I can't bet on it because it probably wouldn't bear out anyways. I'm not very good at betting. It helps my education system, but I'm not very good at betting. I'm not going to lie to you, so I'll let you place that one for me.
Well, and we're getting closer and closer to that magic moment when everybody who smokes Cools and Newports in Massachusetts is going to have to drive across the line to buy them. And or to buy their gas, or to buy, just the opportunity. You guys are banning and over-regulating and overtaxing everything. It's crazy. And not pay a deposit on soft drink bottles or beer bottles too. Yes.
Oh my God. Yeah. I forgot you guys still have that nonsense down. Do you still have that down there? The 5-cent deposit?
Oh yes. There are rumblings to make it 10 cents every now and then. Yeah, that's it's not going to go away. It's going to go 10 cents is the next change. Yeah.
Look, I don't wish badness on anybody, but that's a disaster. It would have helped New Hampshire, sure, because you're all going to really come over to New Hampshire. But Massachusetts, smart enough. You can't be doing that to people. You really can't. When times are going well, you don't put your foot on the gas and take the car deeper into a further direction, right? You got to stop and take a pause and say, how do we get back onto an even playing field with our neighbors?
It'll be different once Governor Baker doubles the gas tax.
Oh dear Lord! I saw Charlie at the event. We had a nice talk. He seems to be doing well.
Did he mention TCI? Did he mention TCI?
No. He didn't mention that anymore.
I'm not surprised. I'll let you go, Chris Sununu, Governor of New Hampshire. Thanks. Have a good evening. See ya. Bye-bye. I'm Howie Carr.
He didn't come here to be made sport of. Howie Carr.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by ButcherBox. Taste the amazing difference of ButcherBox by signing up at butcherbox.com/Howie and get 2 filet mignons, 1 pack of bacon, and $20 off your first box. butcherbox.com/Howie. It's been more than 2 years now since I had the sleeve procedure at Newton Wellesley Hospital's Weight Loss Center. I've kept the 100 pounds off and I'm so happy. I feel better and I look better. I just cleaned out my clothes closet, getting rid of all those XLs and even double XLs I know I'll never fit into again. Thank goodness. If you're thinking about finally losing all that extra weight, now is the time. Call Newton Wellesley Hospital's Weight Loss Center at 617-243-3724 or go to nwh.org/weight loss. I talked to so many people who've had the procedure and not one of them has ever said to me, Howie, I wish I'd waited a little longer to lose all this weight. Don't procrastinate any longer. Make 2019 the year you get your health back. Call 617-243-3724 or go to nwh.org/weight loss. Don't procrastinate any longer. Whatever your age, whatever your gender, do it. Call 617-243-3724 or go to nwh.org/weight loss.
Whether it's global warming, global cooling, or climate change, one thing's for certain, the progressive moonbats can't stop talking about it.
We're talking about cities all over the world, major cities going underwater.
I've spent a lot of time now with these young students, and they're scared. And a lot of young people are even suffering from, they're calling it extinction illness.
So that we can have people here who truly are committed to climate change, believe in climate change as though it's a religion, it's not a science.
A woman whose dreams of motherhood now taste bittersweet because of what I know about our children's future.
You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words.
That curing cancer is going to be much more difficult when there's so much climate change and pollutants in the environment, because a lot of cancer is environmentally caused.
Recognizing and acknowledging the link between animal agriculture and climate change is a very bold move, making tonight plant-based.
Subaru of New England, Washington's birthday sales event lasts all month long. Feel the freedom in the all-new all-wheel drive 2020 Subaru Outback with standard LED headlights, starting at only $26,645 with 0.9% financing for up to 48 months. Or lease for only $249 per month for 36 months with $24.49 due at signing. Details at SubaruofNewEngland.com.
Bernie Sanders is officially in the race for 2020. Let's look back at some of the septuagenarian's greatest hits.
Should we give tax breaks to billionaires, which is what Trump wants, or demand that the wealthy and large corporations start paying their fair share of taxes?
Blah, 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 blah. You know, it's funny. Sometimes American journalists talk about how bad a country is because people are lining up for food. That's a good thing. In other countries, people don't line up for food. The rich get the food and the poor starve to death.
We understand your wife has hired a lawyer to represent her in a possible probe into a land deal that fell apart. This was back when she was president of Burlington College.
No, it was not when she was. Oh, let me say a word on that. You know.
Yeah. Well, I just want to ask you, do you know she's under FBI investigation?
Excuse me. My wife is about the most honest person I know.
At the end of the day, you don't necessarily need a choice of 23 underarm spray deodorants or 18 different pairs of sneakers. People should not be dying in the United States of America when they are sick.
We will raise taxes.
Hi, this is Val from Longmeadow, Mass.
Hi, this is Tony and Pietra from Havel, Massachusetts.
This is Myrnie in Fairfax County, Virginia, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
But you won't be staying in New Hampshire for the results tonight. Are you concerned about the message that you're sending to New Hampshire by going to South Carolina?
Not at all. Not at all. They know we've worked our hard here. We're continuing. We're going to go all the way to New Hampshire. And this is it. I'm not concerned about it at all.
Does it seem like you're giving up on New Hampshire?
I'm not giving up on New Hampshire. Don't poke that in my face, okay, buddy?
Why are you being so negative? Don't poke that in my face. You damn whippersnappers. Where's my tapioca pudding? They told me if I got on this plane, they'd give me some tapioca pudding. Oh, man. You know, the only good news for Elizabeth Warren is that Joe Biden is in the fight. So Joe Biden is going to finish, if the governor is right, and I think that's the way most people are thinking right now, Joe Biden is going to finish fifth, and the fake Indian is going to finish fourth. So, I mean, how does she go forward when Amy Klobuchar, who I think they've taken polls, and she is the worst boss in Congress. She runs through staff like people run through paper. Other people run through paper clips. She's the one who ate a salad on a plane with a comb because the aide had forgotten or didn't get any utensils. And then when she finished eating the salad with a comb, she threw the comb at the aide. And she even said in the New York Times editorial, which endorsed her, that she would that she was going to have to do better in her interpersonal relationships with the staff, the help. And Elizabeth Warren is going to lose to Amy Klobuchar. What does that tell you? Tells me her trail is the trail of tears. Her campaign is heading for the happy hunting ground very shortly. I'd like to write about Biden tonight too, but you know, you have to concentrate on one subject or the other, and I feel like I am chronicler of the fake Indian. I am Herb Boswell, so to speak. I'm Herb Boswell and Bailey's as well. I'm Howie Carr. John, what happened at Perfect Smiles when you went?
The initial consultation was easy. In the past, they just hand me a clipboard to fill out the forms, but that's not how it worked at Perfect Smiles. What was nice was it was a true consultation. They asked me my medical history or what I wanted to get out of the treatment plan. For me, I lived with TMJ. I'd literally have to crack my jaw throughout the day to relieve the pressure. I'd get headaches throughout the day. I'd be in pain. When I was at Perfect Smiles, they asked me what I wanted to get out of the treatment. You know, as a joke, I just said, geez, I'd love you to be able to fix my TMJ. And I was surprised because Dr. Houghton specializes in working with patients like me that have TMJ.
What were the results of visiting Dr. Houghton at Perfect Smiles?
Not only did I walk out of that office with a perfect smile, but he fixed my TMJ. It was a life-changing event. People tell me now that my smile is amazing. People would say, geez, John, your teeth look so great. I never realized my teeth looked so bad before. Now I take a look at the before and after pictures and I'm amazed.
Go to Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire, or visit their website, perfectsmiles.com.
Jim Acosta, without a doubt, wins the competition for Trump's least favorite journalist of all time. Let's listen to some of their feistier moments.
I'll tell you what, CNN should be ashamed of itself having you working for them. You are a rude, terrible person. You shouldn't be working for CNN. Should I let him have a little bit more? What do you think, Peter? Peter, should I let him have a little bit more? Sit down. I'm changing it from fake news, though.
Doesn't that undermine?
Very fake news.
I know, but aren't you?
When I raise money, excuse me, I've watched you on television. You're a real beauty. Honestly, I think you should let me run the country. You run CNN.
All right.
And if you did it well, your ratings would be much better.
If I may ask one other question, Mr. President, if I may ask one other question, are you worried?
That's enough. That's enough.
Mr. President, what do you say to your critics who say that you're concocting a national emergency here in order to get your wall because you couldn't get it through other ways?
What do you think? You think I'm creating something? Ask these incredible women who lost their daughters and their sons, because your question is a very political question, because you have an agenda. You're CNN. You're fake news.
He might not be flashy, but he's there when it counts. Here's 1 minute of Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell.
For the first time in my memory, I agree with Nancy Pelosi. I am indeed the Grim Reaper when it comes to the socialist agenda that they've been ginning up over in the House.
You've watched the fight. You've watched the tactics. But here's what I want to tell you. In the very near future, Judge Kavanaugh will be on the United States Supreme Court.
Noted with great interest the Green New Deal. And we're going to be voting on that in the Senate. We'll give everybody an opportunity to go on record and see how they feel about the Green New Deal. Well, first on the impartiality issue, do you think Chuck Schumer is impartial? Do you think Elizabeth Warren is impartial?
No.
Bernie Sanders is impartial? So let's quit the charade. This is a political exercise. Nobody is supposed to be guilty until proven innocent in the United States of America. Look, we're at an impasse. We can't do anything until the speaker sends the papers over, so everybody enjoy the holidays.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally meant rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
He is the youngest senator that is going to be running. In his video, he also mentioned he's the only senator that lives in the inner city, and he's an unmarried vegan. So a lot of very unique qualities Cory Booker brings to the table, Kate.
Now, I appreciate the comments of my colleagues. This is about the closest I'll probably ever have in my life to an I am Spartacus moment. I am Spartacus. I am Spartacus.
Joey, you like movies about gladiators?
Have you ever had an LGBTQ law clerk?
I've not been a judge, so I don't have any law clerks.
Someone working for you.
I'm to be honest, I don't know the sexual orientation of my staff.
When Dick Durbin called me, I had tears of rage when I heard about this experience in that meeting. And for you not to feel that hurt, tears of rage.
Would you just stop being so dramatic?
I'm a big believer that if this country hasn't broken your heart, then you don't love her enough.
And now, a minute of wisdom from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Millennials and people and Gen Z and all these folks that come after us are looking up, and we're like, the world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change. And your biggest issue is how are we going to pay for it? And this is the war. This is our World War II.
I think that there's a lot of people more concerned about being
precisely, factually, and semantically correct than about being morally right.
But being factually correct is important.
It's absolutely important.
And if we work our butts off to make sure that we take back all three chambers of Congress, all three chambers of government, the presidency, the Senate, and the House in 2020, we can't start working in 2020.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Thank you, New England, for supporting Music Drives Us. Since 2006, we have used the power of music to benefit communities throughout the 6 states of New England. During this time, we've proudly supported more than 200 schools and donated upwards of 1,000 instruments. And this year, we're getting ready to donate all over again. Our work is made possible through your continued support of our musical mission. Whether you donated, volunteered at our events, attended our concerts, or engaged with us on social media, thank you. We hope you'll stay tuned with what we have in store for this year, because it'll be our best year yet. Visit us at musicdrivesus.org. That's musicdrivesus.org. Or follow us at Music Drives Us on social. Together, we can keep music in our schools.
I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. Dr. Houghton, tell us about the state-of-the-art procedures that can help many people look 10 to 15 years younger.
As we age, we do lose these proper proportions to our faces. And so if you're deficient in your chin or mid-face, we can create the proper proportions and make you look great. Sometimes we use orthodontics to change the look of the face. Sometimes we just use the teeth themselves, and it creates the right support for a beautiful face. They're all non-surgical procedures.
There's some pretty complex cases that you deal with. Give me an example of a tough case.
Well, some cases, people just are missing a lot of teeth. I get a lot of people that come in and think that I cannot solve their problems because they're too great, but I really can. We've been doing this for over 35 years, and there isn't much that we haven't seen.
So even if you're missing a few teeth, or your teeth are discolored, or you're very embarrassed, there's no reason not to come in for a consultation, right?
Absolutely. New techniques, new technology, things are available to us that we never had before, and we can handle just about everything.
Where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
And now, another minute of Madam Speaker, Nancy Pelosi.
But again, you have these wings, AOC and her group on one side.
That's like 5 people. They would say, play games, and then they'd say, open sesame, except we don't say sesame, we say open Biden. But no, I because we are not. We have the number is growing. We have 91 women. There are 115 women in Congress, 116. 15 are Republican, 91 are Democrats. I happen to be a man.
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
The Biden campaign was maybe hoping for one of those classic New Hampshire primary surprises. Well, the surprise is for us. I'm heading to South Carolina, as is the former vice president, canceling a plan to celebrate primary night with supporters here in New Hampshire.
Joe Biden is almost on fumes, really. Well, this is a real problem for their campaign. They're beginning to have that feeling of a loser.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
Are you concerned about the message that you're sending to New Hampshire by going to South Carolina?
Not at all. Not at all. We got to win this state in the general election. And I think we're going to be able to do that.
I voted for
Are you there,
Taylor?
Taylor?
I actually went in and
Taylor, you there?
I'm
here. I'm here.
What's going on with the call screener?
Who's your captain? Howie
Carr. Did McKay check on it?
I think we
Just
disproportionately
join me,
stop
Brandon,
whites too much.
1703. I don't think
And
I think
minorities
it's
too
on
little.
your end.
Those cops, we had a crime in minority neighborhoods. That's all the time. It's thrown against the wall.
Is Todd there?
Yeah, he's here.
I'm always happy to take
Okay, so I
don't have to worry about it. Todd's here.
Okay.
Unchained and unstoppable.
We have more in this arena and outside of this arena than all of the other candidates, meaning the Democrats, put together and multiplied times 5.
We have a bigger crowd here by far just for Donald Trump than we had on Saturday for all of the Democrats.
By the way, does anybody know who won Iowa? Flip a coin. They're going to run your health care. Unbelievable. Nobody knows who won. I think they're trying to take it away from Bernie again. They're doing it to you again, Bernie. They're doing it to you again.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
844-500-4242. 844-500-4242. That is the toll-free number of the Howie Carr Show. And we'll get back to the New Hampshire primary in just a few minutes. But there was a great op-ed piece today in the Boston Herald by the U.S. Attorney Andrew Lelling. Sanctuary cities are a genuine and persistent threat. And we'll get into that as we go along here in this segment. But it's an important time to be discussing sanctuary cities because the Transportation Committee of the state legislature on Beacon Hill has given a favorable reading to a bill that would allow illegal aliens to get driver's licenses in Massachusetts, and it could still be stopped. And it's a long way to making this basically even more of a sanctuary state than it already is. But it's a bad sign. This happened on, I think, Thursday or Friday. And the Democrats on Beacon Hill are trying to cover up. They apparently one of the state senators, DeZoglio, from the Merrimack Valley around Lawrence and suburban Lawrence, she told voters that she would never vote for such a bill, and she did, and she got called out on it by the state Republican Party today. And so joining us to talk about these threats of sanctuary cities and what it represents, sanctuary states, is Todd Lyons, the acting field office director for Immigration and Customs Enforcement, the removal operations. Todd Lyons. Todd, thanks for being with us here on the Howie Carr Show.
Thanks, Howie, for having me again. I appreciate it.
So, what's your reaction to this bill gaining at least a little traction on Beacon Hill to give driver's licenses to illegal aliens?
Well, I guess my first inclination is the fact that obviously we haven't learned any lessons through history when it comes through terrorism or crimes here in the United States, especially in the Commonwealth, where you have a bill that's named Family Mobility Act, which has nothing to do, or it sounds great, sounds like something that we've done in a public school or something like that, but it has nothing to do with the fact that you're giving people here that are breaking the law a benefit. And I think that's the part that's lost on it, where you have a law that allows someone to break the law and not make any amends to try to become legal or get status, but still get a benefit, and hide from law enforcement in plain sight. It's absolutely ridiculous that any elected official would want to go ahead and move forward on this.
Yeah, I'm just going to read from Andrew Lelling, the U.S. Attorney's piece in the Herald today. Locally, ICE agents now routinely expend resources tracking down dangerous felons who are here illegally, since prisons and jails refuse to notify ICE in advance of these people being released into our communities. This includes recently released illegal immigrants who serve time for kidnapping, violent assault, involuntary manslaughter, assault and battery on a correction officer, and drugs and gun trafficking. That's just in the last 2 months. This is ridiculous. This is making the communities less safe.
100%. And every day, that's exactly what the men and women of ICE here in Boston have to deal with. When they come in and realize that we either put a detainer request on someone, which we ask them to turn them over to us, or even a basic phone call saying, hey, this person's in custody, or here's any info on this person, where another law enforcement agency would shun another law enforcement partner for a strictly political social view instead of a public safety view. I just can't believe that anyone would really go along with it. And I think it's great what Andy Lelling did. He had a great piece. I had a meeting with him today, and I was super happy to have a partner like that that's willing to go out there and tell exactly how it is. And that's from the U.S. Attorney. That's from someone else outside of ICE. I can come on every day on your show and it would still fall on deaf ears. But to hear it from another law enforcement partner, and especially the highest law enforcement officer in the state, that's definitely something good that the men and women of ICE here in Boston are really proud to have Andy and his staff on our side.
Well, his one of his grand juries did indict a sitting judge in the Newton District Court for letting an illegal alien go while one of your men was waiting outside to collar him. So he's serious about this. Let me read a little more of this. Meanwhile, our residents fall victim to violent crimes committed by people who, if there was a secure border and better cooperation with immigration authorities, wouldn't be here at all. In 2017, a man previously deported for drug and gun crimes, but now illegally back in the United States, raped a Boston college student while working as an Uber driver. Despite knowing his immigration status, a judge in Newton gave him bail and local authorities released him. That was not the judge. That was a different judge than the one who's under indictment now. No one notified ICE. That was Judge Heffernan. He fled the country, and that young woman has yet to see justice done. In 2018, a previously deported Salvadorian national slashed a woman's throat in a town near Boston. Local police knew he was here illegally, but never notified ICE. Luckily, the U.S. Marshals did, and the man was arrested in Maryland. I mean, how is this helping anyone? They always talk, well, we have to have better police relations with the community, meaning other illegal aliens. I mean, in these two cases, the victims were not illegal aliens, but I would say a majority of the cases of these crimes, the victims themselves are immigrants, if not illegal aliens.
Well, and that's 100% because, they have the criminal illegal element has another group of citizens, those that are here illegally or, undocumented, that they can prey upon. But, the majority, which is the sad part, is it's legal, lawful, either permanent residents or United States citizens that are being, targeted and preyed upon by someone that shouldn't have been here in the first place, where we had ample opportunity to remove them or at least put them in front of an immigration judge or have them off the street. And that's what really makes me sad about this Massachusetts Family and Mobility Act is here we're going to reward someone for bad behavior. If it was you and I, Howie, if you look at the DMV statutes when it comes to renewing your license, if you're behind on child support, if you have any type of civil action like that, you can't renew your driver's license. You can't get your business license. But yet everyone loves to say that, immigration is civil.
If you have a parking ticket that was mistakenly written to you, you have to go fight that before you can renew your driver's license or your registration, right? If you're a U.S. citizen, that is.
100%. And then, that person who's either has some type of civil infraction that they have to take care of before they get their livelihood back and have their license, they have to clear it up. Why wouldn't we have a bill that says, hey, if you want to come out of the shadows, let's have some type of plan in place where you become a legal resident or an active part of the community or an American citizen, and then you get that benefit. But instead, we want to let criminally illegal aliens hide in plain sight, and basically the state of Massachusetts will be an accessory to that fact.
One other thing Lelling says, and people forget this sometimes, is the second problem with sanctuary cities is their challenge to the rule of law. While happily enrobed in a sense of moral superiority, local and state officials are merely cherry-picking federal laws they do not like and burnishing their political credentials at the expense of public safety. But what if others of a different stripe did the same thing? Ask the Commonwealth of Virginia, now grappling with a wave of Second Amendment sanctuaries, local towns and counties preemptively refusing to abide by new gun control laws. This is the future this moment has created. Local officials basking in their own self-righteousness, deciding simply not to follow laws they personally oppose. I thought they settled this fight in the 19th century, Todd Lyons. I think it was called nullification, right? South Carolina tried nullification, and there was a civil war. It's really,
Howie, it's perfect. It's perfect that the New Hampshire primary is going on right now, because under the previous administration, we focused mainly on egregious traffic violations like DUIs, where U.S. citizens are being killed by constant repeat DUI offenders that are from other countries. Yet recently, Vice President Biden says that he would fire or arrest an ICE agent that arrests an undocumented alien for a DUI. Yeah. I just don't know what the world's coming to. And the fact that we're going to create a special class of citizens that are exempt to law, whether it's federal or state.
But isn't it Biden who said that drunk driving is not a serious crime? I mean, he's claimed it's not true, but he's claimed that his wife and one of his kids were killed by a drunk driver. Now he's saying if it's an illegal alien, it's not a serious crime. Nope.
If you look at the amount of data that's out there, especially when it comes to illegal or criminal aliens behind the wheel, it's one of the leading forces when it comes to crimes upon not only other illegals, but American citizens. And the fact that the state or state representatives would want to give someone a license to have to do it legally, I don't understand how that goes.
Todd Lyons, thanks for being with us from the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, the ERO office. You're the acting field director. Thank you very much for being with us again, and we hope the legislature and the State House come to their collective senses, but we're not hopeful. Thank you. The Valentine's displays are out in full force, and while there are a lot of options to choose from, I can tell you from experience that nothing compares to the fresh and beautiful rose bouquets from 1-800-Flowers.com. Valentine's is 3 days away, and you need a rose bouquet that's guaranteed to impress. That's why I only order from the official florist of Valentine's, 1-800-Flowers. Today only, you can get 18 red roses for $29.99 or upgrade to the 24-stem colorful rose medley plus a vase for only $5 more. Tonight, while I'm watching the returns, I'm going to be ordering these flowers for the mailroom manager. She told me she doesn't want flowers. I'll bet your girlfriend or wife or mother told you the same thing. They really didn't mean it, as you well know. They will be disappointed, maybe even angry, if you don't get them some nice flowers, preferably delivered to their workplace, so they can brag to their friends about what a great guy they have. Don't make the same mistake you and I have both made in the past and not order flowers. Go to 1-800-Flowers. Roses from 1-800-Flowers are picked at their peak and shipped overnight to ensure freshness. 18 red roses for $29.99 or an upgrade to the 24-stem colorful rose medley plus a vase for only $5 more. It's one of the best Valentine's offers you'll find, but it expires today and only lasts while supplies last. Pick your delivery date and let 1-800-Flowers handle the rest. When it comes to Valentine's, I don't settle for anything less than my rose authority, 1-800-Flowers.com. To order 18 red roses for $29.99 or upgrade to the 24-stem colorful rose medley plus a vase for only $5 more, go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click the radio icon, and enter code Howie. That's 1-800-Flowers.com, code Howie. Hurry, offer expires today. I'm Howie Carr.
The Howie Carr Show. Traveling throughout New England, Howie Carr's got you covered with more than 25 stations across the region. Go to HowieCarShow.com to learn how you can listen to Howie wherever the road takes you.
You might hear a lot about Bernie, Biden, and Elizabeth Warren, but what about the lightweights who are running for president? Here's a best of the B team.
I've listened to some of my colleagues, Mr. Glover, tell you how much they like your movies. And I have to say, we didn't come here to talk about your movies.
Hey, Howie.
We came here to talk about your activism. I like your activism.
We'll
I
do
also like your
poll
movies,
question
but I want to
after
give you a
6:30.
chance because I
After
haven't heard the other
6:30?
side other than tell you
Okay.
that they like their
That
movies.
sounds good.
That they like their movies.
I think the NRA is the worst organization in this country for doing exactly that. They care more about the profits than the American people.
I learned a long time ago about polling. It's not where you start, it's where you finish. I mean, right now, I got nowhere to go but up.
Millions living in the shadows, working some of the toughest jobs, kept in modern day bondage.
People commit crime. Crime happens.
I have won every single congressional district in my state, including Michelle Bachmann's, okay? That's when you guys are supposed to cheer.
John, what happened at Perfect Smiles when you went?
The initial consultation was easy. In the past, they just hand me a clipboard to fill out the forms, but that's not how it worked at Perfect Smiles.
We're going to have Aaron Tiernan right now,
They
right?
asked me my medical history
Correct.
or what I wanted to get out of the treatment plan. For me, I lived with TMJ. I'd literally have to crack my jaw throughout the day to relieve the pressure. I'd get headaches throughout the day. I'd be in pain. When I was at Perfect Smiles, they asked me what I wanted to get out of the treatment. As a joke, I just said, geez, I'd love you to be able to fix my TMJ. And I was surprised because Dr. Houghton specializes in working with patients like me that have TMJ.
What were the results of visiting Dr. Houghton at Perfect Smiles?
Not only did I walk out of that office with a perfect smile, but he fixed my TMJ. It was a life-changing event. People tell me now that my smile is amazing. People would say, geez, John, your teeth look so great. I never realized my teeth looked so bad before. Now I take a look at the before and after pictures and I'm amazed.
Go to Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire, or visit their website, perfectsmiles.com. And now, some of my favorite fake Indian cuts of all time.
I'm not going to ask you for your favorite curse word. Actually, I am. Do you have a favorite curse word?
Poop.
Poop? Oh, that's a goody two-shoes favorite curse word if I ever heard one.
Are you kidding? Have you ever seen a woman like me look you straight in the face after you finished some long explanation of something and then just said, poop? Hold on a sec. I'm going to get me a beer.
I am not sure what she's talking about as far as a rally with.
It was a rally in Bern, Oregon, is that you have to figure out who you are. I grew up in a family that was barely hanging on to the ragged edge of the middle class. And my Aunt Bee has walked by that picture at least 1,000 times, remarked that her father, my papa, had high cheekbones like all of the Indians did.
This is Mark in Williston, Vermont.
This is Marie in Somerville, Massachusetts.
This is Mike from South Attleboro, Mass. And this is the Howie Carr Show.
So Joe Biden was working the coffee shop circuit.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you told me to stop. So Joe Biden was working the coffee shop circuit in Manchester, New Hampshire this morning. And suddenly a decision was made that he was going to flee the state before the voting ended, even though he had rented a hall at the Radisson in Nashua for his so-called victory party. So so he was surrounded by reporters who said, "What the hell is going on?" Basically, and he did not handle the questions, although they were not particularly hostile, badly. And one of the reporters was Aaron Tiernan from the Boston Herald, my newspaper, and Aaron's on the line now. Aaron, where are you right now, Aaron? By the way.
I'm in Nashua, actually, at the primary party that Biden was supposed to be at.
I assume it's really hopping. It sounds like at Times Square on New Year's Eve. A lot of excitement building in the room.
Yeah, I mean, they're not letting the public in until 8, but at this point, there's no line forming at all.
Gee, I wonder why. So tell me what happened this morning when you and the others went up to the vice president.
Yeah, so I was at a polling location in Nashua, and all of a sudden the Biden tour bus, this was well after the news broke that he was going to be skipping out and heading early to South Carolina. And all of a sudden the Biden tour bus pulled up. He came out, and there was a big union. There was a lot of union supporters there holding Biden signs. So he was pouring coffee. And I was actually the only media there except for his embedded reporters on the bus with him. So I just kind of worked my way up, and I asked him, why he decided to skip town early.
And that's when it happened. We got the cut. We got the sound cut here. Hold on, Aaron.
Okay.
Joe, why'd you decide to leave early?
I'm not leaving early.
Why'd you skip the party tonight?
I'm going down to South Carolina, and then I'm going to be talking to everybody up here in my field. Yeah. And why are you so negative?
Why are you so negative, Aaron?
Oh, I don't know. I thought it was a pretty fair question.
Now, why did he say he wasn't leaving early when the news had already broken that he was leaving early, and now he's gone?
It seemed like he wasn't ready for the question. I don't really know.
Did Jill or somebody, Larry Raskey or one of his guys, try to step in and lead him away?
No, they did not. He is going to be appearing on a live stream during the party later on tonight. So like maybe that's what he was alluding to, but he's definitely not going to be here. So.
And then I guess he also he also was telling somebody to get the microphone out of his face. Did that happen with you, or was that at another event earlier or later?
I think that was at an earlier event. I heard some of the TV reporters may have run into him in Manchester earlier on in the day and had a similar experience.
Yeah, we got that cut, Taylor. Let's play that for Aaron.
About the message that you're sending to New Hampshire by going to
No,
South
I'm
Carolina?
not at all. Not at all. They know we've worked our hard here. We're continuing. We're going to go all the way to New Hampshire. And this is it. I'm not concerned about it at all.
Does it seem like you're giving up on New Hampshire?
I'm not giving up on New Hampshire. Don't poke that in my face, okay, buddy?
Wow.
At least you didn't poke anything in his face, buddy. I mean, then he really would have jumped ugly with you. All right. We'll give our best to whoever's up there. Aaron Tiernan, you did a good job today getting in his face. Thanks for being with us. Talk to you later. We'll be right back with your calls. Tell us what's going on in New Hampshire. I want to talk to Mark. Hang on, Mark. I'm Howie Carr.
As the 2020 presidential campaigns heat up, there's plenty of talk about what's best for the country. The question is, at what cost and who will be impacted by any of the proposed ideas? If you're near retirement, you need to make sure your portfolio is ready for whatever happens. Call Kevin Frisbee of Frisbee & Associates for a no-cost, no-obligation analysis of your current plan. Call 800-989-9100. Kevin and his team will stress test your portfolio to discover any hidden fees. They can help develop a solid income plan that will make sure you never run out of money, despite what the politicians might have in mind. What about Social Security? When to claim is a huge decision. Kevin is there to create a plan that gives you options to maximize your benefits. Schedule your free consultation now. 800-989-9100. And catch Kevin on the Howie Carr radio program every Thursday afternoon as he reviews the market. 800-989-9100. 800-989-9100.
Jim Acosta, without a doubt, wins the competition for Trump's least favorite journalist of all time. Let's listen to some of their feistier moments.
I'll tell you what, CNN should be ashamed of itself having you working for them. You are a rude, terrible person. You shouldn't be working for CNN. Should I let him have a little bit more? What do you think, Peter? Peter, should I let him have a little bit more? Sit down. I'm changing it from fake news, though.
Doesn't that undermine?
Very fake news.
I know, but aren't you?
When I
raise money,
excuse me, I've watched you on television. You're a real beauty. Honestly, I think you should let me run the country. You run CNN.
All right.
And if you did it well, your ratings
Let me
would be
ask
much.
you, if I may ask one other question, Mr. President, if I may ask one other question, are you worried?
That's enough. That's enough.
Mr. President, what do you say to your critics who say that you're concocting a national emergency here in order to get your wall because you couldn't get it through other ways?
What do you think? You think I'm creating something? Ask these incredible women who lost their daughters and their sons, because your question is a very political question, because you have an agenda. You're CNN. You're fake news.
I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. You get a lot of patients, I'm sure, who are apprehensive about veneers. What are some of the questions and fears you get when you're dealing with new patients?
Some people think they could look too fake, but true cosmetic dentistry is incredibly detail-oriented. So we put a lot of time and effort into individualizing how the smile looks, and we really make them look natural, but very, very pleasant.
People are concerned. They wonder, I got my teeth. Do I really want to put caps on?
Exactly. Yeah, they think they'll have that Hollywood look or fake look, but the technology that we have available and the artistry that we can create now really makes things so natural that most people, in fact, most dentists are just surprised that we can create what we can create nowadays. Everyone is different. Everyone has different facial dimensions, different bone structure, and we do everything we can to individualize treatment because there is no one perfect smile. It is your perfect smile.
Dr. Houghton, where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE, 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
And now, 1 minute of Nancy Pelosi.
It is a bill that is much needed for our farmers and ranchers. I think there are only 47 votes against it in the House of Representatives. The American people should know the source of it. Again, we are engaged in the year-end continuing resolution, Homeland Security. I'm not sure. No, I haven't spoken to him since he called the other day, which was a very amicable conversation. Amiable, I guess you would say, not amicable. And I talked to Chuck last night to say, we haven't had an answer. There are other things that are going on that are newsworthy, and I think you'd have more viewers or readers if people address concerns that people have. The list goes on about the
You can call him Fat Boy, just don't call him late for dinner. He's Howie Carr.
We will bring over your entire family from the third world Muslim hellhole that they live in so that they can have an all expenses paid, taxpayer funded with open bar weekend at a nice hotel in Boston, get a nice sightseeing tour, maybe take them to Fenway Park for a game so they can see their savage Muslim terrorist kinsman sentenced to death. But the president of the United States of America can't be allowed to speak before Parliament because he's such a terrible barbarian, as opposed to the dictator of Red China. And I'm going to call it Red China. Since the Dems are down on Russia, we might as well go after all the communist dictatorships that are left, right?
Howie,
that was good. That was good to have her on.
Authoritarian
Just
now, but let's call it Red China.
Thank Grace, not me.
No, I was going to tell Grace thank you for getting that. That was funny.
Sure, it was. Coming back.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242. I'm going to miss Uncle Joe when he departs the race. Any day now. Any day now, as Ronnie Millsap once sang. Valentine's is 3 days away, and 1-800-Flowers has an amazing offer. Today only, you can get 18 red roses for $29.99 or upgrade to the 24-stem colorful rose medley plus a vase for only $5 more. To order, go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click the radio icon, and enter code Howie. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Will Joe Biden finish in 5th place tonight?
I think he will, yeah. So does Governor Sununu.
And 85% of our poll takers agree.
5th place. Wow. Again, like I said, that's the only good news for Elizabeth Warren. Somebody else is going to have more obituaries written about him tomorrow than her. But it's not going to help fundraising, I don't think, to finish 4th. Mark, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, I voted in Nashville about an hour and a half ago, and Bill Weld was standing outside the polling place.
Oh, my God. Did he offer you a drink?
No, I thought about asking for one, but I just walked past him. I didn't say anything.
What did he?
He looked pretty mellow, though.
Yeah, he looks perpetually mellow these days, Mark. Yeah, he's always working on keeping it going, keeping that buzz going. What did he say anything to you? Was there anybody with him? Give us a report on the scene.
Well, it was just about dusk, and he didn't have a full-size campaign bus. He had an old kind of RV type vehicle with Bill Weld paraphernalia on the outside, posters, and so on. And he was talking to one person. I don't know if that was a voter or not. And he had maybe 8 or 10 of his acolytes there holding signs, but that was about it. There were no lines forming or anything.
You're kidding. Wouldn't you think that he would want to spread them out to, 8 or 10 different precincts in Nashua or some of the surrounding communities? Why the hell would they all be with him? That's crazy, isn't it?
I don't know. I guess so. Maybe that's all he's got.
I think he's kind of lost his edge since 1994, which, now that I think about it, is the last year he ever won an election anywhere. 1994. That was a while back, Mark,
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to break his streak tonight. All right, Mark, thanks for checking in. Who'd you vote for, by the way?
All right.
Who'd you vote for?
I thought about taking a Democrat ballot and voting for Tulsi because she's easy on the eyes. And of course, if you vote Democrat, it's got to be a well thought out vote. But I took
yeah. So
I took a Republican ballot, and I voted for Trump. I figure I want to vote for him legally as many times as I can.
Yeah. Yeah, Governor Sununu said he's going to probably get 100,000 votes tonight, more than any of the Democrats. Wouldn't that be something? Considering there's how many Democrats? 8 of them, 9. Oh, excuse me. Somebody said there's 30 Democrats on. Of course, a lot of them most of them are just very fringe figures. But there's like 7, 8 candidates who actually campaign. Thanks for the call, Mark, and thanks for hanging on. Dave, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Dave.
Howie, long time, love the show. Hey,
Thanks.
I worked a polling station in a mid-sized town in central New Hampshire. And I can answer any of your questions. I can give you a brief rundown if you'd like it.
Okay, who had people holding signs?
Only one butter judge sign was in the parking lot.
No.
Sorry. I don't mean to slip. It's a family show. So that was the only sign in the parking lot, and they have a 200-foot sign clearly marked where you can't go past it.
Yeah.
One couple did come in that were at the rally last night with a hat and a shirt, and they were told to cover them up because I was at the door.
Yeah. Well, I understand that. We have the same laws in Massachusetts, But so how many people were taking Republican ballots?
You could see the pink and the blue. There was a lot of blue going through the little machine, and it was steady all day with spurts of heaviness. For a primary, that's good. They had federal people there with badges, checking the rules. There's a huge handbook that the moderator has to go by with how far the ropes have to be. There's 3 distinct lines where you go in. You either have an ID, or you're transferring from another town, or you have no ID and they take your picture. I was also doing the picture taking.
Wow.
Only took one picture all day. Yeah. Oh no.
That's new, right?
Oh no. They had all these federal laws printed right out, and they had people, the staff, they checked a lot of new registers in. So there was tons of younger families, 20, 30, 40-year-old people with kids in carriages. I was impressed with the turnout of younger people.
Were they taking red or blue ballots predominantly?
Mostly red, and then you could see their clothing kind of depicted the tight pants with the rips in them, and the beards with the rubber bands holding.
Oh, so the
together,
reds. I thought the reds were Democrats.
No, I'm sorry. That would be the blue. Yeah, the Republicans. You know what? The veterans' home was where I live, and they bust in veterans. The first 3 hours was nothing but old people, and they all took red ballots. So there was tons of Trump supporters there, tons of them.
Yeah.
And then there was a lot of regular voters. There was a lot of young people. So I think the governor's prediction of a lot of people is going to be right on the money. But there's no chance you could cheat, because even if you snuck up to the line with an ID, they rejected you if you weren't on their list. So that means these people either had to go back into the line and register, but I did see 4 or 5 different groups actually leave the premises without voting. So they were either they're trying to get in and didn't want to deal with it because they didn't have the proper paperwork to prove it, or they were out of time, or whatever the reason. There wasn't a lot of it. I probably saw 400 people come in vote. I only saw 5 or 10 people leave without actually voting.
Well, that's good. That's good. I'm encouraged by that news.
No, it was so controlled. If you got into a smaller town with a lot of college kids in there and they're trying to escape the system, if they didn't have an ID, they took their picture.
Yeah.
Okay. And they stapled it to a paper and gave it to the people who registered people. So you had to go register after you had your picture taken.
Yeah.
So that would deter people from. So now if they go back in November, they're going to go, we can't cheat the system, man. They had all kinds of stuff in place.
Right. Exactly.
So the governor was correct. He didn't know the details, but he was right on the money with that's not going to happen. And they had people come in with badges, all women, by the way, 30-year-old women coming in with suits and badges on from the federal places and state places, checking and make sure everything was, the ropes were the right distance away. It was
good.
Very controlled. I was impressed. Yep, it's very good. I thought you'd like to hear it.
That's good. Thank you. Thanks, Dave. Thanks for calling. 617 says, just bought a 6-pack of briefs at Walmart. I could smell the Trump supporters. It smells like victory. 609 says, I just emailed you and Grace a picture of the New Hampshire Democrat ballot. I bet they got some wacky names on there too. Is it like the British parliamentary races where they have these guys like, rodent Ratface, is running on the Green Party label or something. They have, would assume there's got to be a few of those in New Hampshire as well. 844-500-4242. 617 says, well borrowed Grateful Dead's bus. Another 603. I saw Bill Wells' bus. It was an old relic. Next stop, Cars for Kids. And 207 says, I was born in 94. Again, that was the last year that Bill Weld won an election. That was the year Newt Gingrich took over the House, and Bill Weld was 3 sheets to the wind. And he was saying, I'm going down to Washington tomorrow. I'm going to meet with Newt Gingrich. Even though he was the governor. Why does he have to go down to Washington to meet with the new Speaker of the House? You've been reelected governor, but he wanted to go to Washington. 844-500-4242-978. I noticed Bernie in 2016 would scream about the evil millionaires and billionaires. Now in 2020, Bernie only screams about the billionaires. Guess becoming a millionaire changes everything. Yes, it does. You've noticed that. Joe, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Joe.
Hey, Howie, thanks for taking my call. My question is, does Governor Sununu and his state, they have their own rights? Do they have to honor out-of-state illegal immigrant licenses?
No, I don't think so, Joe. I don't think that's going to happen too much. New Hampshire's a lot harder on illegal aliens trying to get, say, driver's licenses than the Commonwealth of Massachusetts is. They've actually kind of put an end to people, or largely to put an end to people illegals trying to get a license at the DMVs. They used to have. I used to get one. I'm on the mailing list of the email list of the New Hampshire State Police, and every couple of weeks I would get a release. Somebody usually from Lawrence would get busted trying to get a driver's license illegally, and they would just bust him like this. And in Massachusetts, and I still think it's the case, they just turn you, if they know you're an illegal, they just turn you down, but they don't arrest you. And so that just means they just come back, try their luck another day. Whereas in New Hampshire, you get busted, you have to spend the weekend in jail, and your picture goes out to everybody, and they're not coming back a second time. Word travels fast. 844-500-4242. Brad, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Brad.
Hey, Howie. I'm a moderate. I'm an unenrolled independent, and I used to, I still used to be to the left to the right of Rush Limbaugh, but I've kind of moved to the center over time. But I'm a never Trumper, and I voted for Bernie Sanders in the primary in 2016. This time around, I was going to vote for Joe Biden because I figured, he was probably the best guy to take out Trump. But then, when he left, I was already on the fence, not sure should I vote for Buttigieg after what happened in Iowa. But then I thought, you know what? If he's going to leave us and disrespect us this way, I'm going to vote for Amy Klobuchar, which is what I did. Joe Biden's been around long enough. I believe it was George H.W. Bush in 1980 when he left Iowa to go to New Hampshire, and ended up voting against him because of that. And he learned that lesson and didn't do that in 88.
Well, don't you think, Brad, don't you think it was a pretty bad thing that he did on Friday night when he said, I got clocked in Iowa and I'm going to get clocked here? I mean, how do you, if you say you're going to lose, how do you expect people to come out and work phone banks or hold signs for you all weekend in a cold, crappy February weekend?
Yeah, well, I guess it's a tough decision. You want to lower down the expectations when you know you're going to lose, but at the same time, you won't want to lose even further. So, he made his decision there. Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. It's going to get tougher for him, and it looks like it's going to be a contested convention. And Bernie's going to go in with a plurality of the delegates, and it's going to be ugly. It's going to be 1968 all over again, and Trump's going to sail to victory.
I hope not, Brad. We don't need, skulls being crushed in the streets and, riots and all that kind of stuff. That would be bad. Did you ever think about voting for Elizabeth Warren?
Never, absolutely never.
How come?
Oh, She's the biggest lie. I mean, other than Trump, she is the biggest liar out there. She's a complete phony. She lies about everything. She lied about the pregnancy firing. She lied about being Native American and benefited from affirmative action. She's lied about anything and everything. She's Bill Clinton as far as when it comes to lying, or Hillary Clinton 2.0. So no, I couldn't support her. And at least Bernie, even if they have supposedly the same issues, although I think Warren's lying, at least Bernie, he's telling the truth. I believe what he says. I don't believe anything that comes out of Elizabeth Warren's mouth. So we don't need that. If we're going to have somebody in there, might as well have somebody. Then again, I don't know. Maybe it'd be fun. Maybe it'd be fun to have Elizabeth Warren as president.
No.
And then it should be fun to hate.
No.
Fun to hate.
No.
No.
You get tired. You've already gotten tired of her. Okay, Brad, reconsider Trump. He's put money in your pocket. Come on. All right.
Have a good one, Howie.
Talk to you later. I'm Howie Carr.
Howie Carr will return after this brief commercial break.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by Honest Howie's History Podcast. Hear about Joe Kennedy's potential run against Ed Markey for the U.S. Senate and learn how history repeats itself. Available now at HowieCarrShow.com.
Did you know that there is only one Sunday every year that Bank Chevrolet Buick GMC is open? Being closed on Sundays throughout the year is important to our team and their families. In February, everyone comes together for our fun President's Day weekend sale. It is so popular that we open on a Sunday to handle this once-a-year event. But you don't have to wait for President's Day weekend. Right now, Banks in Concord is offering President's Day pricing before February 17th. Visit banksautos.com and our full-service internet department can take care of most of the details before you even walk through the door. You'll find the lowest, most transparent pricing around, a friendly, no-pressure staff, and over 2,000 vehicles in stock. Right now, get President's Month savings on a new car, truck, or SUV. Great deals include a 2019 Silverado Double Cab for only $287 per month, or a 2020 Chevy Equinox LS for only $199 per month. Chevrolet, find new roads. Learn more about President's Month savings at banksautos.com. Bank Chevrolet Buick GMC in Concord, New Hampshire. Always a smart choice.
He is the youngest senator that is going to be running. In his video, he also mentioned he's the only senator that lives in the inner city, and he's an unmarried vegan. So a lot of very unique qualities Cory Booker brings to the table, Kate.
Now, I appreciate the comments of my colleagues. This is about the closest I'll probably ever have in my life to an I am Spartacus moment. I am Spartacus. I am Spartacus.
Joey, you like movies about gladiators?
Have you ever had an LGBTQ law clerk?
I've not been a judge, so I don't have any law clerks.
Someone working for you.
I'm to be honest, I don't know the sexual orientation of my staff.
When Dick Durbin called me, I had tears of rage when I heard about this experience in that meeting. And for you not to feel that hurt, tears of rage.
Would you just stop being so dramatic?
I'm a big believer that if this country hasn't broken your heart, then you don't love her enough.
The Subaru of New England, Washington's birthday sales event lasts all month long. Feel the freedom in the all-new all-wheel drive 2020 Subaru Outback with standard LED headlights, starting at only $26,645 with 0.9% financing for up to 48 months. Or lease for only $249 per month for 36 months with $2449 due at signing. Details at SubaruofNewEngland.com.
Brace yourself, guys. Here's 1 minute of Nancy Pelosi.
I myself have always been for lowering the voting age to 16. I think it's really important to capture kids when they're in high school, which was a very amicable conversation. Amiable, I guess you would say, not amicable.
That they wanted their voices to be heard.
I don't think our colleague is anti-Semitic. I think she has a different experience in the use of words. That's not the total package, but there are some of the major points of discussion, I would hope, from sea to shining sea, because they are not getting paid 163. Was it 163 Republicans voted no? Wisdom from the kitchen of the Willard Hotel, yes, ma'am. The president either doesn't know what he's talking about or doesn't want to know what he's talking about.
Jeff in Woodstock, Connecticut.
This is Laura Benner in South Burlington, Vermont.
This is Jimmy Mack in Falmouth, Massachusetts, and this is The Howie Carr Show.
Our democracy hangs in the balance, and it is up to you, Massachusetts, to decide what to do. Totally blew it on that one. And to the people of New Hampshire.
Taylor, send me that cut, would you? I need that for my column tonight when I write my semi-obituary of the fake Indian. It's up to you, Massachusetts. Our democracy hangs in the balance. We mentioned this earlier in the day when we were with Senator Lindsey Graham, but the president tweeted out today that after the news broke that these angry Democrats who worked for Robert Mueller, who are still on the payroll, they prosecuted Roger Stone. He was charged and found guilty of being a Republican. You know, it's just amazing. He couldn't remember whether he sent an email or a text or something. That was the level it was on, and they charged him with obstructing an investigation. And of course, the investigation was of Russian collusion, and it turned out there was no Russian collusion. So it was an absurd charge on any number of different levels. But they convicted him in front of an Obama judge named Berman, and these angry Democrats put in a sentencing memorandum. They wanted to sentence him to 7 to 9 years, 7 to 9 years for a process crime, and the underlying crime didn't exist. You know, and all these people like Comey and Brennan and Clapper and McCabe. They're all still walking around. They want to put Roger Stone, who's 67 and broke now. They've destroyed him. They bankrupted him. They want to put him away for basically 7 to 9 years, which would kill him. And now they've all resigned. All these prosecutors the Justice Department said this is ridiculous. Come on, cut the crap. Meanwhile, the feds have postponed the sentencing on Michael Flynn, another guy who was framed by the deep state. He's not even charged with being a Republican because he's a Democrat, but he happened to work for Trump. So he was, I guess you could say General Flynn was convicted of working for Donald Trump. Even though the FBI agents who interviewed him initially said there was no crime, he didn't mean to deceive them, he didn't lie to them. But they decided to charge him anyway because he was working for Trump. And so now he's trying to withdraw his guilty plea. He wants to get a new trial. The Fed said, we don't want to charge you with anything. Then when he said he wanted to withdraw his guilty plea, they said, we're going to make him serve 6 months. Then when they realized that they were on a slippery slope to having the case thrown out, they said, no jail time. Now this is outrageous. People have got to go to prison for this. This is the other big story of the day, even bigger than Jussie Smollett being indicted. Dr. Jeff, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Dr. Jeff.
Hi, Howie. So I have a different take on the Second Amendment sanctuary cities than it seemed you were coming up with.
Very quickly, Dr. Jeff, very quickly.
So when you have anti-gun laws that are anti-self-defense, so you're putting people's lives at risk, it's not the type of thing where you go to court and get
relief,
and try and overturn this.
Believe me, I'm in favor of the sanctuary gun counties and towns in Virginia. Lelling was just making the point that if you have sanctuaries for some things, you're going to have sanctuaries for other things. Thanks, Dr. Jeff. I'm Howie Carr.
We here at Matthews Brothers understand that we're not the biggest